back to another episode of Collector's Quest. I'm Tyler here with Johnny. Johnny, what's going on?
Yo, Tyler. Just barging in here, making myself known.
Johnny, we're here to talk about some video games.
Are we? Is that what we do here?
That's what this every 2 week or so podcast is about.
What would you say you do here?
I buy a lot of like computer games that no one really cares about, and I feel proud about them on my shelf. And then usually like 5 years later, I get around to playing that game. That's about what I do here.
I would say your average on that is way better than mine.
In terms of what?
I guess as far as buying to playing. Your conversion rate is
I like
great.
playing old games. It really helps if you just don't like modern games. It really helps you crunch through that backlog.
The problem is I do like modern games. I've always liked games.
Yeah, the bigger problem there is you play in the new Star Wars game, it's going to be like 30 hours long.
Yeah, I don't really understand the delineation. People are like, nope, I don't want to play a game if it's new. I hate this. And I just like, oh, I guess I've always just liked games and I didn't kind of think to qualify that enough, I guess.
It's not that I don't want to play games because they're new. It's that the games, the like AAA games are made for like this mass market that is not appealing to me anymore.
Oh, for sure. But there are people. We know people who are specifically like, I don't want to play any new games. If it's past X console, I don't want any part of it.
You get onto like the forums. I'm not talking about social media. You get onto the forums, and yes, there are the Atari people who refuse to play anything made after like 1929, and there are some NES people who refuse to play anything in 3D. I'm not that crazy. I'm absolutely over the moon for Cruelty Squad. That game just came out a few years ago, but
yeah. Yeah, some people are even so far as like, I don't even care if they make an 8-bit game right now today. I won't play it because it was made today and they don't know what it's like. You're just like, okay.
So I'm not defending people who take like such hard stances on that, but like quote unquote 8-bit games, like games that just use the style, are nothing like NES games. And even playing,
I'm talking homebrew. Like they make a new game on a NES cartridge that plays on.
That's Nintendo. What's so weird. So these new games, I don't know, I'm thinking like Full Quiet and Micro Mages. They're made with modern game design sensibilities, and they feel nothing like NES games. Like obviously they feel a little like NES games, but when I'm playing an NES game, and one of the most common things you don't even think about is like when something gets hit really hard, the screen shakes in modern video games. And when that happens in an NES game, it just makes it feel so modern. And it's crazy because games could have been doing that the whole time in the 80s. It's just no one thought about it or no one knew how to technically implement it. And people are so much better at programming and people are so much better at game design now that all these homebrew games include so much more like little animations and all these little things that we expect to be in video games now.
Yeah, no, it is different. So I grant you, an 8-bit game made today is a lot different than an 8-bit game made before. But even in the life cycle of the Nintendo, the quality ranges from like, if you were just like, nope, only 8-bit Popeye, that's the standard of 8-bit games. Like there's a lot of games that are very different in quality from that, one screen box of movement.
Johnny, if I can't understand and play a game within 10 seconds and that game isn't over by 5 minutes, I don't even want to play it. I'm here for the simple fun of the good old days, and we called it Intellivision.
Sure, I want one button and nothing else. If Atari could make do with one button, so can you kids today.
Why we gotta make everything so overcomplicated? You're telling me there's a shoot button and a shield button? What kind of shooter is this?
I don't understand this argument specifically. Like, controllers got too many buttons now, as they type into a forum to say that. I'm like, do you know how many buttons are on a keyboard, my dude? There's a lot of buttons that you are using with your very coordinated hands. You're telling me the controller is too complicated now? What happened?
I don't understand how they're. We're getting really off the track. Yeah, if you like play games, like you have the coordination to do that. And I realize we're talking about a very small people of like Atari diehards at this point.
Yeah.
Like I would understand like my mom who has never played a real video game outside of like phone games. Like, yeah, maybe she doesn't understand a controller and it'll be really hard to pick up. But if you are already holding a controller, you probably got the skills to hold a more complex controller.
Yeah, they're just like, it's too many buttons. I'm like, you are using a keyboard. You have so many buttons in front of you.
You want to play some computer games that have a lot of keyboard hotkeys, Johnny?
I do, yeah.
All right.
I do. I mean, when I was playing some computer games, I had a special controller.
A special controller?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, God, what was it called? Do I have it over here? No, I put it away. It's one of those Logitech ones where you have like your macros, like your 10 macro buttons and like your little thumbstick for WASD. So it's like you can do a lot of one-handed. You have like 15 keys on that. What was that Logitech keyboard called? It's from
Are you talking like a G13, like the halvesy like keyboard type thing?
Yeah, probably.
To explain to people, because no one's going to know what the hell this thing is. You know how you have like those separate numpads with just a numpad? This was. It was like a separate half of a keyboard with just like the WASD section of the keyboard, but instead of being staggered, the keys were ortholinear, so it was all like in a nice grid, and they had like a bunch of other like buttons and stuff around it to make you feel fancy.
So yeah, it's exactly the G13 that I had, but the G13, so it doesn't actually have WASD up in the keys because it's got a thumbstick that you can use for WASD. Over off on the right.
You sure could use that, yes. It seems
that's how I
actually played games with that? Like you had so basically I want to give people a mental image because literally no one knows what this thing is. Imagine Johnny's hand resting on a keyboard and instead of the space bar, his hand is over an analog stick and he actually played games like that. Which is what you were supposed to do. It's just so different I couldn't imagine doing it.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to remember I was not good at playing, like I played console games. So like I would come in and use my keyboard and be very bad with WASD, just terrible. So I specifically went and got this because it had a thumbstick. I'm like, and then I was fine. Then like the rest of the keys I was fine with. It was just WASD. I never quite got over that issue. Yeah. I played a lot of City of Heroes with this, a lot of WoW. Yeah. It was a lot of games played with this.
I don't have to worry about being good anymore. Now that I have RSI in my right hand, I'll just never be good at first person shooters again. And I could just accept that and move on and be bad at video games. No, I guess I'm still good at video games. I just can't play competitive first person video games. But I guess, what am I? I'm 35, 36 years old. I'm probably aged out of it anyway compared to the kids playing online.
Probably. To be clear, I did not play shooters with this. This was like all MMOs, like low effort kind of. Yeah. I wasn't like trying to play Counter-Strike with this thing. I was like, oh, hey, let's go run some dungeons. Well, cool. Well, that's what I was doing with this thing.
Johnny, I've got one more off-topic thing to take us on a tangent before we talk about Xbox.
Okay.
You remember playing games online in the 90s, and the games I played in like the actual 90s was like the very beginnings of RuneScape. That might have been like 2001. Ghost Recon, Soldier of Fortune 2. I played some of these shooters in like Counter-Strike and Half-Life, Unreal Tournament. And it was really easy to get into a game with a bunch of kids like my age. There were a lot of kids playing video games who just sucked balls. Like no matchmaking, no nothing, just like even like in RuneScape and MMOs, like there was no YouTube, there was no people who played video games for 16 hours a day to get good at video games. It was just like when you were playing a regular lobby, a server, it was just like a bunch of people there to have fun. And I feel like the average thing going into a video game is not that. I feel like the average thing is I'm playing with a bunch of people who like their hobby is playing this video game. And I'm just here to like see what's going on. And unless there's a matchmaking system to put me with other people who suck, I'm going to get destroyed. And I feel like, if you only came into to online gaming since, I don't know, sometime in the 2000s or 2010s it switched over to everyone's playing all the time. You probably never had the experience of only playing with people who don't know what's going on and suck. And I think there's something to that they're missing out on.
Okay. I did not play any computer games in the 90s, right?
Well, what was like the first online game you played?
The first online game I played?
You had to have had the same experience in World of Warcraft. All right, World of Warcraft's what, 2005? All right, it's not the 90s, but like people didn't go into World of Warcraft and were like sitting there and knew everything about the game, and like there was all these incredible wikis on day one, and the first thing you do is you went into a wiki and you figured out your optimal build and you knew how to level up and like what order to do the quest in, whatever you do in World of Warcraft. I don't know what you do in World of Warcraft. But everyone was just like there figuring it out and they sucked at the game. Right? Wasn't that the most fun anyone has ever had in World of Warcraft?
Yeah, probably. Let's see. I played some original Xbox Online. I played Final Fantasy Online on the PS2. And City of Heroes was the first like MMO I played online. So that was like
So did you play Halo 2?
Oh, yeah. I played Halo 2.
When you went into so like if you went into Halo without matchmaking, like I would expect to get wrecked now. But did Halo 2 have matchmaking or did it just throw you in with dudes?
I think it just threw you in.
And you probably still had fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean even up to like Call of Duty, even some of those didn't have like proper matchmaking. They weren't like, oh, let me match you guys up based on skill. It was just like you got in a lobby and sometimes you got destroyed by someone who was clearly one of the best players in the world. And you were just like, I just bought this game today. Yeah.
And now it's like even more insidious because like the matchmaking algorithms have it built in so that if you suck, they make sure to like every once in a while put you in a lobby with a bunch of people you're better than, so you get the dopamine of beating people. Like if they think you're gonna stop playing or something, the algorithm's like, oh, this guy needs a dopamine boost. Let's put him in a lobby with a bunch of people who suck. I hate it so much.
You know, I'd never actually considered that was a thing that matchmaking might be doing.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, there's like they have talks about this at like game developer conferences on like how to keep players engaged with like algorithms.
No, it makes sense. No, now that you've said it, the whole world is open to me on what that's like because you do it in so many other how to incentivize. Yeah. Ugh, God, Tyler.
Your whole life is controlled by these stupid algorithms. They're just trying to feed you dopamine to keep you addicted to product.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't. The only game I really play online now is Diablo, so it doesn't really matter.
Which is fine because like there's no insidious algorithm to Diablo. You just kind of know you're going into that to be addicted. Like
yeah, yeah. I mean, there are some stuff on like say Magic. Right, like not Magic Online, but Arena, where you're just like, I just got like 3 perfect hands in a row. That feels weird. Yeah. Okay.
I wonder if the single player cheeses you like that. I mean, there's no way they could do that in multiplayer. Like Magic is fun because it's random.
Oh no! So they had this thing that I know they took away for a while, but they used to have a hand sculptor, so it would make sure that you got a more favorable starting 7 when Arena first came out.
That was like a part of the game?
Yeah, so it wouldn't make sure that you had the best cards, but it would like make sure you had a favorable ratio of lands.
It just made sure you didn't have to mulligan. I hate that still.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to say, so this ties back, oh, Tyler's too good to play new games. There are differences between old games and new games, and not everything newer is always better, and I don't want the algorithm fucking with my dopamine. Sometimes, if I suck, I just want to go get destroyed. I don't even play multiplayer games. I don't know why this was my example go-to, because I don't play multiplayer games that much anymore, but there's something more pure about just playing some Ghost Recon with whoever's online, Johnny.
That's true. It's nice if you just jump into a random lobby and it's all random and you just don't know what's going to happen.
Johnny, you know what was the video game console that kind of not introduced, but popularized the concept of jumping online and getting some friends into a lobby? The Xbox 360.
Yeah, so about that, Tyler. There are a lot of people who get mad when you say stuff like that, but I think it is a crazy stance to not recognize how important the Xbox 360 was to the online space of just like basic gamers. I think
who wouldn't recognize that? What are you talking about?
No, there's people there are people who are mad. They're like, no, the computer and all this like they are mad. They're actually mad when you're like, the Xbox 360 was really important. Like, it wasn't first. It's like, I'm not saying it was first. I'm saying it's very important, and obviously it did a lot. Introducing Xbox Live was a big deal. Making matchmaking easy. Having like an easy way to put headphones on your ears and talk to people and play online with them. It did this. PlayStation 2 didn't do this. They tried. They didn't get it right. PlayStation 3 didn't do it well. The Xbox 360 is the console that nailed it.
And it tied it all together. It made everything online. Like, it was the whole reason that like digital games, smaller games, indie games took off. You had like Netflix directly built into the console type stuff. Obviously Xbox 360, super important as just like a piece of hardware, a media device in general.
One of the most important consoles in video gaming history.
Absolutely. Yes. I think it's also a huge turning point in game design, as I constantly bring up.
Yes.
Yeah, and
we agree. It's a clear delineation. Like, there is what happens before the 360, and then there's what happens after. It's like, okay, here's Atari, and then there's like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and then like N64 and PS1, you're like moving through some stuff. And like PS2 is like the advancement of that, but then it hits 360 and everything changes. There are clear breakpoints. That's why I don't like the term generation, because I don't think it actually clearly describes what happened in the space of playing video games. I don't think it's a good enough term. It's too loose. They've tried to be like, nope, here's this bucket where this is generation 1 and 2, and this one's generation 8. No, there are these ages that happen, I think, that encompass too many of the generations to cleanly say this. And the online age begins with the 360.
Sure. And I think the modern game design age, I think the most stark difference to me is sometimes I go back and I'll play like a GameCube game or like a PlayStation 2 game, and I'll get a game over and it kicks me back to the title screen. And I'm like, holy shit, I forgot that games do this. And when you play an Xbox 360, you never expect to get a game over and get kicked back to the title screen. That's just not something that happens anymore.
No, going back to the title screen, you mean to your last save point, checkpoint?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what are you talking about? The title screen.
Fucking Steel Battalion, if you don't eject in Steel Battalion, it deletes your save file. Like, an Xbox 360 game would not do that.
No, oh my God, could you imagine the tears that would be online if it did that?
It would. Like, people would literally like be refunding the game. I'm not playing through the beginner stages again. There's like 10 levels in the entirety of Steel Battalion. Anyway, Johnny, yes, Xbox 360, super duper important console. Not maybe my preferred console to either play or collect. But I'm trying to think of like the most important consoles. Like, it's definitely top 5. Is it top 3? Like, NES has got to be in the top 3, right?
Okay, yeah. So it's hard. So how important is Atari, right? Atari is super important because they started things, right? So it's like,
well,
I mean, you know what I mean.
I know. It brought video games
a mass market,
yeah,
and into the mass market, right? Into people's houses. So you got to give, but it didn't do it well, and it messed things up. But then Nintendo really showed us what it could be in the NES. Super Nintendo, as much as I love it, is not as important as the NES. The N64, also not as important.
That's a joke.
Yeah, like, I mean, PS1.
Analog sticks are, all right, analog sticks are something. We're not going to say nothing, but we're nowhere near the top 3 consoles in terms of importance as N64.
No, PS1, super important, right?
I mean, PS1, in addition to everything it did, is the start of the PlayStation line. I think it has a claim to it. Yeah. I think it's in the conversation. I'm not saying it's in the top 3, but it's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah. PS2, just a giant library, but I don't think it actually, like, it did a lot of things.
almost like how much of the entire DVD at home thing is like PlayStation 2? Like how much of that market was literally just made by PlayStation 2? I don't know if that counts in terms of how important it is to games, but like in terms of like the all-encompassing media device, kind of the same way the Xbox 360 is. Like PS2, I think is in the conversation.
Oh yeah, PS2 helped, a big part of just DVD sales and getting DVDs into the home. PS3 did the same with Blu-rays, but how important is that compared to, say, what the 360 did? Because the 360, like I said, it defines an age. Like it says, nope, everything else before this is not the same. Things are different now.
It is, and it came out. 360 came out a year before the Wii and PS3, or did it come out like with the Wii? I thought 360 was a year earlier than the other two, right?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was earlier because I remember getting the ugly ass white one, and having the only model I could get was one with a wired controller. My first one had a wired controller, which I still have, and actually wound up working out for me, even though I was mad about it at the time.
It's so fun. I hated the fact that it was AA batteries. I thought like, oh, AA batteries, like my TV remote from a TV from the 1970s. I thought it was so outdated, and now I hate built-in batteries so much. And I have this Xbox controller in front of me, and I'm like, look at this magical piece of technology. It takes AA batteries. I could take the battery right out of it, and I don't have to go buy another special battery. It's just freaking AA batteries. Everything should run on AA batteries. I love it so much. Whoever's working at Microsoft, they're cooking with this AA battery stuff.
I don't think I agree on that, but it is very convenient. And like, if your controller runs out, you're not like, well, I can't be playing anymore. You're just like, nope, I'll just throw in new batteries.
Yep.
Like having charge packs around and stuff is kind of a pain in the ass.
Oh, I forgot they had like the play and charge kit. I'd always play my Xbox 360 wired because I don't know if you remember this. So I obviously had a big aversion to going from physical media to digital media. I just want to hang on to physical forever.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with wireless controllers. I thought wireless controllers were so dumb, and I wanted everything to be wired. Even like just all my old consoles.
The lag! The lag!
Exactly! Wow, there's 2 milliseconds of lag! It's like not even a frame of lag, but I'm like, oh, what's going on? I can't have this space in between my controller and my thing. And I didn't want to think about batteries, even though AA's are the most convenient battery to just get a charger somewhere. But yeah. Every once in a while, my controller runs out of batteries at an inopportune time, though, Johnny.
It does. That's that video I showed you where I fell. Is because I was going to get batteries, Tyler.
Okay.
Because I was playing and my Xbox controller died. So, that's the other thing we're not talking about is the controller. They nailed the controller on the 360. It's one of the best controllers ever made. Sorry, guys. Sorry if you're...
I don't know about that.
I love the Xbox controller, man.
The D-pad is really bad.
Well, you're talking about the D-pad. We're talking about analog sticks and like your trigger buttons and stuff and the shape. I'm not a big PlayStation controller guy. I will play it if I have to, but I'm not in love. Not in love with the PlayStation controller.
No, because the PlayStation controller is based, like the entire design is based on, they took the original PS1 controller and tacked the analog sticks onto the bottom, and then they felt like they couldn't change that design from that point on. So literally, the PS5 controller is based around the PS1 controller, which was built around the D-pad. So the design doesn't make any sense, but people pretend they love it. They're like, oh, the parallel is so much better.
Well, and because it defines the difference between an Xbox controller and a PlayStation controller, they can't cede that to the Xbox. It would be giving away too much ground. So they're just kind of stuck with it.
They are. It's kind of like an iconic thing for them is their controller, even though I think it sucks.
Yeah. No, I think the S controller was very good.
It was, because it had a good D-pad.
So it's a good controller. It's a good design. I'm
happy that Nintendo copied it. The Switch Pro controller is just like, yeah, all right, yeah, the Xbox One's the better one. Because I think in the Wii and the Wii U, they had the parallel analog sticks on some of their controllers. And then they're finally just like, nah, whatever. Guys, we know the Xbox One's the best. Let's be real.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're just adding to like what it did. Xbox Arcade, Live, the controller, The built-in hard drive right on top. Let's not forget about that.
20 whole gigabytes. It could.
I know.
It could hold like a patch for Call of Duty maybe these days.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That might be too much. But then you could get like bigger ones as well. Yeah, it was. It's definitely a console that did a lot, and that's why we're gonna stumble through talking about it, Tyler. That's what today's about.
Yes, if we haven't said, Johnny. We are not Xbox 360 collecting experts. We just want to take a look at what's going on with the Xbox 360 and live react to it.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to say about the 360? What else did it do? It backwards compatibility, right?
So we can't forget about the HD DVD drive and the Kinect, things that changed the world forever.
Yeah, we say that, but then we literally started implementing those things. It's funny how failed ideas on one console then they're like, this wasn't good, but we're gonna bring it back on later consoles and just kind of integrate it and see if anyone notices. Like motion controls.
Do you want that? Do people want the new Xbox Kinect? They bundled some one of their. I don't remember I can't distinguish Xboxes, but one of them was bundled with a Kinect.
Yeah, I think that was the Xbox One, and never even put it on, literally put it away, hated it. The only thing it was cool for was digital codes because you could just scan the QR code and it would, instead of typing in that 16-digit string. You're like, here's my DLC.
Would have been faster to never have to go around the back of your TV console and plug that Kinect in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Also, as we kind of mentioned, it was a multimedia box. It did a lot. Xbox 360 did a lot of things.
Achievements. I got another one. We got achievements. That's just an expected thing that video games have now.
Yeah, and that was really a big deal with the 360. 100%. Yeah, and your avatars, that was Xbox the first place that had your avatars, or did that come with the Wii? And
I think Mii's were first, and then Xbox copied it later.
Yeah.
And it was a stupid, realistic-ish avatar. It was so corporate. Mii's had so much personality, and the Xbox ones are just ugh.
Yeah, it feels like the team's version of it for sure. Yep. So, the 360 just did so much. And as you said, we're going to try and stumble through this. This is so you want to collect 360 from guys who don't really know what's going on with the 360. Because we think it's a big, important console. And though we sometimes dump on Xbox as a console in general, the whole platform, just because it's basically dead and dying. Super important place in video game history, and without it, we would be in a different space, I think.
It's true, Johnny.
Yeah.
What's the best-selling Xbox 360 game to start out?
Is it Halo 3?
You're not even close. It is
no
Kinect Adventures with 24 million copies.
Is that because it came with the Kinect?
Yes, that absolutely is.
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
Johnny, the Xbox 360 sold 84 million units. Kinect Adventures sold 24 million. So a quarter of people, more than a quarter of people who had an Xbox 360 bought a Kinect. A thing you would look at and be like, I'm a gamer. I obviously don't want that. A quarter of us bought it.
Did you buy one?
I didn't.
I did. I totally did.
I have standards because I played a lot of Wii games and I'm like, man, these motion controls are really imprecise and it's laggy and has motion lag. It's not going to be able to track my movements with my magic hands.
Yeah,
and look at me, I was right.
Yeah, you nailed it. So you know this about me, even though we do this podcast about old games. I like technology. I like gadgets. I like to see what things do. So it was oh yeah, I'll try that out. What was should we ask what I got more game time with? The PSVR or the Kinect?
You're going to tell me the Kinect?
Yeah.
Were you playing Just Dance though? Something that it actually works with?
We played some of that. We did the Disney adventure, where you just walk through the Magic Kingdom. like, because that was kind of neat. So, like, I did that with my wife, and we did play Connect Adventures. And it was just like, oh, people came over and, like, we tried it out. You know, people like, oh, hey, check this out. And the VR is, like, a thing you do in isolate, right? You have to be alone with all of your wires out. Like, now with, like, a small child, I can't even imagine a space in which I would strap all of these wires to my head and just be like, all right, I'm going to be gone for 5 hours. But
well,
in
5
the middle
hours,
of the
come
living
on.
room.
VR is like, all right, 45 minutes, I had an experience and I'm done.
No, you got to play Resident Evil. And in VR.
All right.
That's what I did. It was creepy. I liked it.
So, Johnny, go into collectible stuff. Do you want to just start with the heavy hitters? Do you want to just go over the most expensive 360 games?
Well, can we give a basic rundown? We kind of gave it its achievements. It came out in November of 2005. It sold 84 million units. It's a super important console. Is there any other general information that we should give about this thing before we just
No, because it's not the Fairchild Channel F. It's the Microsoft Xbox 360, and every single person listening to this podcast owns one.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if that's not true. Maybe there's like a real hardcore PlayStation fan who's like, no, I was loyal to PlayStation till the end, man. But probably everybody owns one.
Yeah, we talked about things it's primarily known for. We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the Red Ring of Death, because that was a thing that happened. You know?
Yeah, all of them fail. I don't remember what that was about. What was that, like bad thermal paste or something?
Yeah, it was like the glue basically on the board that you could, like, people were doing the towel trick and stuff to try and fix it. Yeah. So anyways, it had a super high failure rate for a modern console, for any console really, because traditionally those things were rock solid. And we entered into a new age of, man, this shit breaks all the time, and updates. Let's not forget that, updates.
I guess another thing worth mentioning is that there were at least a bunch of actual exclusives, which is something that the Xbox is perhaps not known for.
It is true. Yeah, the original Xbox, what is there, like 2 left standing exclusive games?
The original Xbox?
Yeah.
What do you, like the 2002 Xbox?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From the original Xbox, totally known for having no exclusives. The 360, not known for having
Xbox
exclusive.
has some stuff. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about like weird ports and stuff. Like, because my first exclusive would be like, oh, Phantom Dust, you can't play that anywhere. I think they did re-release Phantom Dust somewhere, but
yeah, pretty sure they did. But
I'm sure, like Jet Set Radio Future, that's an exclusive.
My point being is, like, we talk about how every game on the 360 or on the Xbox was basically re-released in some fashion or is on Steam, not like a bunch of true exclusives.
I see the Xbox, the original Xbox was from like that PS2 era where like it wasn't quite everything on PC, whereas like the Xbox Series X is literally just like, all right, here's everything. The home version of some PC games.
Yeah, so, but we have this like weird time now where, again, not so many, and then you got like kind of a bunch, or, you know, a bunch-ish on the 360, and then down to like nothing. There's like no exclusives anymore. PlayStation has some kind of, but yeah, exclusives are dead.
Johnny,
Nintendo
Xbox
has some
360 exclusives.
Yeah, we have a whole big list of them.
Oh, do we? I was just going to go off the dome. Maybe you can fill in my gaps. Alan Wake, you know, if it's... So this is where we disagree.
Alan Wake is not an exclusive because it was re-released.
See, this is why, it's not a fucking exclusive. But if I'm thinking as a collector and I want the original release of something, Alan Wake came out on Xbox 360 and 2 years later was ported to PC. And then, like, now it's on, I'm sure there's, like, Alan Wake Remastered HD Megamix Edition on everything, I'm sure, right? But the fact that it was exclusively on Xbox 360, not just for a week, not just for a month, it was an Xbox 360 game for 2 years. That is an Xbox 360 game. That is not like some multi-platform game. Clearly the 360 version of Alan Wake, in my opinion, is the one to own. And that is what matters to me in terms of calling something an exclusive.
And there are a lot of games like that because Xbox 360 and PlayStation, like, they have these timed exclusives now. But that doesn't really mean, like, yeah, I guess you can play it anywhere, but really, where's the home of that game? Like, where is it the most collectible? Like, where did it actually originate from? I agree with you. I tried to have this conversation with you, like, when we were prepping for this, about how I feel about exclusives, because I feel like the term exclusive is kind of a bad term now. We talk about, does it have exclusives? Like, what does that even mean anymore? In a world where everything is remade, remastered, multi-console, if it's on Steam. If it's on Steam, is it exclusive? No, because you can go play it on Steam. But if you want to own it, the only physical way to own a game, like, so the physical exclusive is on this system. So, I don't know. The term has gotten obscured for me. Kind of harder to wrap my arms around is talk about, like, what does that even mean?
There are some, like, weird nuances to it. Well, let's do a whole episode on it, because I think there's a lot more than just, like, exclusive, timed exclusive, and, like, physical exclusive. I think there's, like, a lot of layers to what can be considered exclusive in what way.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about some of the games that are exclusive, but also that's a time-bound thing. At any point, someone could say re-release Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah. If there's a game on PS4 and PS5 at the same time, is that an exclusive? No, it's on two consoles, but, like, it's a fucking Sony exclusive. So
yeah,
what are we trying to gatekeep here with the term exclusive? The point is that, like, only the cool Sony people can play it. That's what an exclusive is.
Yeah. Is it exclusive if it was released in a bundle of, like, this game came out with the Forza collection? So you could play Forza 2, but the only way to own an individual copy is over here because we've got this bundle. That's no longer exclusive. Yeah, we should do an episode where we kind of just talk through our thoughts on that, because it's that'd be a good episode for us to dig our teeth into, rather than sabotaging the whole Xbox episode.
All right, let's put that in the doc. John, you could talk about more exclusives. Halo 3, the best Halo game is on the Xbox 360, along with I think 3 other Halo games that I don't care about.
Not an exclusive because it got released.
Shut up.
I'm talking about true exclusives.
Oh my God.
Physical
true
exclusives.
Oh, Gears of War and Mass Effect, those Xbox 360 games. Oh, Tyler played those on PC like 2 years late. Oh, you guys, doesn't count.
They're on Steam. Sorry, Tyler. You see, it's
I don't think those are on Steam. I think I
because-
had to get, like, games for Windows for those. There's, like, something weird with those games.
Yeah,
that was in a weird era.
Yeah. Anyways, play on Microsoft Game Center, guys. Let's go. Join me there. I'm just going to run through some. I've got when they came out and everything. You ever played Blue Dragon? This was, like, kind of a big deal game for a while.
It was. They got a Japanese developer to make a game for Xbox. Crazy, right?
Yeah. And was it the guy from Dragon Quest? Did he do some of the art, or was it just inspired by that?
I don't know.
It's based on the design by the guy from Final Fantasy. Anyways, they definitely leaned into it kind of looking like Dragon Quest on the cover. They were definitely trying to get people there. Anyways, that's not a very expensive game. You can get it for $23, Tyler. Lost Odyssey, Magna Carta 2, 99 Nights, that's N3 if you're playing the home game. 99 Nights 2. Not all the Viva Pinata games are exclusive, but you know what is? Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise. Does that excite you?
I forgot Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise existed.
Yeah. And
what
also,
are the other one? What's the other one? Was it, like, ported on, like,
Party Animals?
No. The regular Viva Pinata, was that ported to, like, a more recent Xbox? Oh no, that was on PC too.
It was on the DS as well. They made a version of the first one for the DS.
Okay. There's no way Party Animals went anywhere though. Party Animals has to be exclusive.
Party Animals isn't exclusive. That's
okay.
the mini.
People did not like that. Game.
No, because they removed itself from the formula Viva Pinata and made it a mini game. Also, Viva Pinata known for having the dumbest case imaginable. Like, this tin with a plastic shell over it, but it was an odd-shaped tin. Just the worst. Man, that game...
The collector's edition you're talking about, yeah, it's a bad one. I wonder what the Steelbook people feel about that, because we do have some Steelbook people who listen.
Is it a Steelbook? It's like a tin. I don't even know how to classify it.
It's like Steelbook adjacent. It's a metal case. They're into metal cases.
Yeah, you're into metal stuff, right, guys? This game's totally metal. Cameo. You remember Cameo? That got some traction for a while. Raiden Fighter
like
Aces.
I never played.
Do they? I mean, it's by Rare. So here, Viva Pinata, Cameo, and Perfect Dark, all Rare games. So that's a thing.
All right. Remember Microsoft bought Rare?
Yeah, that was the thing.
Was weird.
And then a lot of the games that were like exclusive there then got put in that like Rare party pack or the Rare collection that came out on the Xbox One or something.
You missed Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which, yes, I'm sure it's in Rare Replay. I'm sure like all these Rare games are. But Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, I strongly associate with the Xbox 360. Very obviously, that one didn't get a PC release. And that game's awesome. And people probably appreciate it more now after Tears of the Kingdom. Everyone's like, oh, wow, this is really reminiscent of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, huh?
Yeah. Nope.
No, really?
I don't know. Zegapin XOR. I don't know what that game even is. Operation Darkness, Spectral Forces 3. This is one of the Japanese ones, one of the cave ones. Say it for me.
And we're going to go over all the cave games.
Futari, whatever.
Mushihima-sama Futari.
Yeah, thank you. Then Muchi Muchi Pork and Pink Sweets.
Yeah, all the cave games are going over their exclusivity.
Yeah,
and all that,
but these two are exclusive to the 360 only. Dead or Alive 4, we got Forza Sports 2, 3, 4, Forza Horizon, Ridge Racer 6, Lips. You remember Lips, Tyler?
I sure do. Wait.
Hey, remember when you just wanted to sing instead of play all of Rock Band? Lips is for you.
I mean, there's a lot of karaoke franchises. Yeah. Also, no, Lips is the one actually developed by Microsoft, right? So I technically don't remember Lips.
Yes, and they had the Lips I Love the 80s. Woo! Chrome Hounds. This one was up your alley. You love some Chrome Hounds.
Well, I know you like mechs. I assume that Chrome Hounds is now a $400 game. I think I've already made this joke because it's a From Software game. And then I think we looked it up, and it's not.
It's $10, Tyler.
Guys,
Very
video game collecting
exclusive.
is so easy. It's less than $10.
So Lips is an exclusive Microsoft game, only on the 360, $4. Go get these games.
Well, I mean, that's a karaoke game. What are you going to do about
Viva Pinata Party Animals, $7.
Yeah, it's the non-beloved Viva Pinata game.
Forza Sports 2 and 3, $5 and $6. Forza Sports 4, $8.
It's Forza Motorsport. Where are you getting Forza Sports from?
Sorry, Motorsport. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, we'll talk about this later, Johnny. I think that racing of all genres is, as someone who likes going back to old games, it's like a genre that almost always gets better as time goes on, as like graphics and physics and the amount of cars and all that stuff get better. I think there are there's some top tier games that like get constantly updated that maybe aren't the latest right now, but in a world where you have Forza Horizon 5, why would I go back to Forza Motorsport 1 ever? Those are different genres, kind of. In a world of Gran Turismo 7, why would I go back to Gran Turismo 1? I don't think there's a reason. So don't pick those up for $7 unless you really need all the exclusives.
Well, what about Viva Pinata? Trouble in Paradise. That game's $10. Cameo is $7. Perfect Dark is like $5. Project Sylpheed is $6. Magna Carta 2, one of the expensive ones. It's an RPG. So Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, and Magna Carta 2 are the exclusive RPGs. So, like standard RPGs. $23, $15, $35. Then you've got some like strategy RPGs, like Operation Darkness. It's like $45. So that's where they get expensive. But then there's another weird one. Do you know what Zoids is? You ever heard of Zoids?
Is it anime? Or is it like American animation? I think it's American.
Well, it's from Tomy.
Oh, okay,
so, yeah. So anyways, Zoids is an expensive game for the 360. It's $55. Zoids Infinity X Neo. And it's exclusive, so if you care about that. And it's kind of an earlier game, so it's like 2005. So,
I wouldn't hate a collection of all these Xbox 360 exclusives. I probably have most of them, but I'm certain I don't have like the $50 Zoids game. But there really can't be that many, because like even though I'm saying Xbox 360 has exclusives, it wasn't like an exclusive powerhouse. It wasn't like, I don't know, the original PlayStation.
No, it definitely was not that.
So yeah, you could probably get them all. And all the first party ones are going to be super cheap. And it's like we've already gone over, there's basically nothing over $200 in the entire console. There's very little over $100 on the console.
There is not an exclusive game that was released in the US over $60.
There you go.
Chrome
now look at this.
Is $55.
Video games cost $70 now.
Yep. So all these probably cheaper than they were at retail right now. And then there's like Naruto, Rise of the Ninja. But again, there's nothing like too crazy on here. The most expensive game is the cave game, Pink Sweets, or Pork and Pink Sweets. So
that makes / Pink Sweets. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And that's one because it's a cave game, and also the genre of game. So it's a shmup, right? So you have this cave shmup, which is like $75 to $80, and then same with Mushihima Mesama Futar. I'm gonna mess it up every single time. $55. So, you have the more expensive games are RPGs, shmups, and mech games. Weird, Tyler.
But Chromehounds is $10.
Yep. But go get Zoids, $55. Let me just add that there's about like 27-ish like exclusives, 25-ish in the States. And again, exclusive is a very sticky term, so be careful when you're like, actually, I count more. Like we excluded some stuff, which you may or may not feel is an exclusive, which is why we gave you that whole forerunner of why the term exclusive needs its whole other conversation.
Yeah, you missed a lot, I think, because you didn't say there's a 3-pack that has Splosion Man in it. I love Splosion Man.
But again, if you can download that somewhere, like this is just like, you can play these.
Splosion Man was never re-released.
Never?
I think maybe Miss Splosion Man is somewhere, but the original Splosion Man, that game rules, and you could only play it on Xbox.
Did I type my criteria on this? So this, so you can only play these on the 360 and also aren't backwards compatible?
That's your criteria?
I was doing that for a while, but we have our research session and then we jump in, but now we're like a week removed. So I'm trying to remember exactly where I got to because I didn't write that. What did I write in my notes here?
I didn't hear you say Shrek and Roll Xbox 360 exclusive.
I wonder if this is my exclusively non-backwards compatible one, because if you can technically play it on an Xbox One, is it still exclusive?
Oh my God. All right. We'll save this all for the exclusive episode where we can debate this to death. This is the wrong forum for this right now.
Anyways, there are more. There are more. My point is there's more that you can tack on. But these are ones that are only, as of right now, stuck on the 360.
I feel there's big ones you missed, like Crackdown. That was a big game. People cared about that for 6 months.
It was.
Crackdown's not on anything else. Crackdown 2, is that on anything else?
What was the demo you could play? It came people bought Crackdown because what was it, Halo 3 demo in it or something?
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
I just liked Crackdown.
I can't remember. Crackdown definitely had a demo that came with it.
All right.
Yeah, it was a Halo demo that came with it, but I don't remember which Halo it was.
It was probably Halo 3. I don't know if you remember. That was a pretty big game. I don't think, I remember everyone played Crackdown, and I don't think everyone would have played Crackdown for Halo ODST, so it was probably the Halo 3 demo.
I'm looking at the box now. Includes invitation to Halo 3 multiplayer beta.
There we go. Okay.
My memory wasn't completely there.
Look at I'm the idiot over here I enjoy Crackdown for the gameplay. Little did I know I was supposed to buy it for the Halo 3 online beta. It is possible that I went the entirety of the Xbox 360 life and I never had an Xbox Live subscription because I was like adamantly against paying to play online. And I thought that my protest would fix the future, which I don't think it did. Now I can't even play my Switch online.
Whoops. I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm sorry your protest didn't work out.
It's fine. My college roommates had an account, so if I needed to play some Uno, they had my back.
That was a whole other thing. Like, I think we've talked about the Uno controversy before, haven't we?
There was a controversy?
Yeah, basically Uno was chat roulette before chat roulette was a thing.
Oh, well, yes. That's true.
Yeah. So sometimes you'd just be playing Uno to play some Uno, and you would just get a naked person on your camera.
In beautiful, like, 140p video.
Yeah, you just, and it would be like full frame too. So you just be playing some Uno because my friends and I would play online. Like we'd be at my house or something, just like playing. And suddenly like someone would pop in and just be a cock. You're just like, cool. Thank you. That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Freedom of speech, man.
Yeah. I'm like, all right. That's a thing that just happened. Are you going to play your hand or are you leaving this game? Like, what are you going to do here? So, yeah, that was a funny thing that happened. Also, Uno had really easy achievements, so you could get like those 200 achievement points fast.
Man, if you weren't there in like 2007, like 2006, where like I would literally go to GameStop and try to get the most achievements for the minimum $1. I remember like the Avatar game, you could get like all 1,000 achievements in like 20 minutes. I would like look for games like that. I remember looking for games that had no challenge. I remember Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. You would just get 1,000 achievements for beating that game. That game kind of sucks, but if you just sit down and play a 6-hour campaign, that's 1,000 achievements. And I'm like, yeah, I'm there for that.
This is like, this is part of the whole Xbox experience. If you don't know, this was the thing. People like, never underestimate the lengths people will go to for internet clout. I think it's the lesson here. If you didn't have like a 360 and you weren't like going after your scores, like getting those achievement points up, what were you even doing? Like, why were you even on the Xbox?
Yeah. Another reason video games changed when the Xbox 360 came out, we stopped playing games for fun. We played them for little points on our profile. I remember like there was at least one game where I had to like, it was like a game that we needed like some kind of online achievement, and it was like a dead online game. So you had people, I think it was like one of the NHL games, and you had people on like achievement hunting forums, I guess, wherever we organized, that would like organize Xbox Live games where everyone would just boost each other to get this obscure achievement in a dead online game. Like, the weird shit people did. And now, like, no one cares. No one cares what your fucking gamer score is, you fucking nerd.
Yeah, no one is checking. They're like, oh, yeah. Or like, man, it is crazy what people used to do. Xbox Live was a crazy place because not everyone had microphones. So if you were playing online, sometimes you would get crazy messages typed out from ranting people. You would get voice memos. They were like searching your profile to like, if you didn't have it on private, to see what games you played, to call you, just to find a way to call you a bitch. Was 100% the goal of people like stalking your profile, just to find some way to call you as many profane things as they could think of and be as racist as possible. That is a key part of the Xbox experience. You were hunting points and you were getting called names.
I think achievements, as we have them now, are actually way better. And I assume that, I don't know if every platform's like this, because I haven't looked at, like, PS5 trophies. I don't know what those look like. But on, like, Steam, you get an achievement, and I don't even know, there's no, like, overall score or anything, but you can see how rare that achievement is. So the thing, like, I'd want to do, like, no one's going to care, but me, I'd be like, oh, only 0.2% of people who played the game got this achievement. That would be fun to hunt for, just for my own personal satisfaction, not as like a trophy to put on my profile. I think, I think the rare achievement stuff is fun.
I think it's fun. I think the direction too that it's kind of changed now is that like now achievements are mainly for you to be like, oh, I actually did achieve something. But when it first came out, it was to show other people. Now it's kind of like a, it's a callback to Activision patches kind of in that way. But now it's just like, oh, this was a thing I did. And you can go back and see like, oh yeah, I did this thing in a game. Less for showing off, because when it first came out, it was definitely about showing off.
Yeah. And there was like an arms race because man, people just like weren't as crazy or I don't know. People weren't as, if that same system came out today, there were people like how people are lined up to buy every single Switch release. People would be lined up to buy every single Xbox 360 release, at least for a year or two to keep up with it, to make sure they get 1,000 achievement points in literally every Xbox 360 game that came out. I didn't see as many people doing that when the Xbox 360 came out. And it was a lot of like, what's under $10 at GameStop that we can get achievement points in. And the reason I'm thinking about it like this is I got a very rare Steam. It wasn't an achievement. It was like a Team Fortress 2 hat. You had to buy every game that was on sale and get an achievement in that game, I think, to get this very rare hat, the hat of undeniable wealth and something. It's like a stupid Team Fortress 2 hat. And there was only like a couple hundred people in all of Steam who did that. Because like, who buys every single game in a sale? That's like a stupid thing to do with your money. Whereas I think in today's climate, you'd have way more people that are like willing to jump through a hoop of like a lot of money, a lot of time invested to go get some shiny cosmetic thing for a profile or a video game, a Fortnite skin, whatever.
Tower,
what's up?
How many of these achievements have you chased in your life?
How many achievements? I mean, like, I'm telling you, like, I was probably in on achievements from 2006 to 2008, and then I'm like, all right, forget it. Once I saw people have like 250,000 achievement points, I'm like, all right, what's even the point anymore?
Sorry, what was your score? Say that again.
No, I don't know what my score was, but I remember
you
seeing.
Don't know what your gamer score was? Come on, let's.
I don't. I'm sure I deleted my Microsoft account, so we can't look it up. I'm sorry.
Oh man, and we were never friends, so I'll never know.
Oh, what was your gamer score? Is that even still a thing? Like, does that carry on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I remember, I don't look.
There were like leaderboards, like the top few people in the world would all be like trying to one up each other.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was a race that you like paid attention to. I'm sure there are articles about it on IGN. Okay, that's the level it was at.
A moment in time. We'll never get it back. Like, what do you care about? Like, what leaderboard like that do you care about now? Like a WoW boss comes out and like the world first, like that's the closest thing. But
yeah, I think so. People who do like MMO races and like ARPG races and stuff to first to cap.
First one to beat Elon Musk on the leaderboards.
Oh yeah,
it's really hard. That dude plays like 24/7. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know. Well, he must have something going on because, he definitely embarrassed himself in that arena. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm afraid.
Hey, let's talk more about Elon
political.
Musk.
No, let's not. Anyway, some key franchises that definitely have some exclusives that were on the Xbox 360. We can't forget about Fable, that whole series, Gears of War, Halo, of course. Project Gotham Racing, Viva Pinata, Left 4 Dead for a little while. Lots of like big franchises that were only on arcade, like Geometry Wars. Remember what a big deal Geometry Wars was for a while?
Geometry Wars, very big deal.
Alan Wake, Shadow Complex. Remember that? Remember how popular Shadow Complex was?
I do. I think Shadow Complex $15.
Yeah, it was.
This is another thing. Xbox 360 was like, it really cemented the prices of digital games as being low in my mind because, Geometry Wars was $5. I remember thinking $10 games on Xbox Live Arcade was like, whew, $10. That one's kind of a lot. I'm going to go buy Marble Blast Ultra because that one's only $5.
Yeah, I mean, just all the indie games you could hunt through and stuff too. Castle Crashers. What about Scott Pilgrim? These were like big games that, a lot of the stuff that Limited Run has since like tried to come back to. A lot of this stuff was like born because these games that people love, these indie games, were locked into like Xbox Live Arcade and PSN.
And going back, like Castle Crashers and Braid and like these great games that are like very much worth a full price. These were 1,200 Microsoft points at the time, which was $15, and that was like, oh my god, that's expensive. Or that's like the cheapest game you could get now. Yeah. But it was like, oh, this is a premium game, 1,200 points, huh?
And just a little bit about that too. Points. Remember the whole controversy with points? Because they would make games, they would sell you a bundle of 1,000 points, but then they would make a game like 900 points or 990. Like they would do this thing where they would basically make it so you always had a residual amount of points that you could never spend. And there was a lawsuit about that, which
no,
it
you
wasn't
had to
just
buy,
Xbox.
There was some stupid shit you could buy. There was like stuff that was like avatars for like 160 points. There was like little stupid stuff like that you could do to fuck up your point total. But for the most part, games were in 400, 800, 1,200. Like
some were, but when it wasn't universal to like the 360. It was across all consoles, including the Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii was where it really fucked up because they priced their virtual console all over the place, so it would never line up correctly.
Yeah, so you had these things happen, and they basically were like, okay, we kind of got to use have a way to get you out of this, because you would just lose currency in these games. Like you would put real money in that you could never get out, and it would be trapped there. And they created rules around that afterwards, Tyler. Anyways, yeah, points were a thing. That was a part of the whole thing. Did you have your credit card saved? Were you PayPaling? That was PayPal wasn't even an option to pay. People were typing in credit cards all the time. It was a wild time back then.
I probably had my credit card saved in there. Maybe I couldn't. I don't think the Wii let you save your credit card. I'm pretty sure I had to type in my credit card every time on the Wii.
It was obnoxious. You would buy a block of points and just I'm just going to buy $100 worth of points. I'll spend it eventually. Please leave me alone.
But anyways, the Wii made it better because you got to listen to the Wii shop music while you're entering the credit card. That's never a problem.
Yeah. That's now music that just happens in the background of videos. It's a weird thing that kind of was born out of that.
Yeah. Because it's such a banger. It's a cultural phenomenon, the Wii shop music.
Yep. Any other key franchises on there? Obviously all the Call of Duty games were on the Xbox 360. A big deal. We can't talk about the 360 without talking about the timed exclusivity that Call of Duty had over map packs and stuff. That was a big deal. And it made Xbox kind of became the de facto platform for Call of Duty for a long time. You had Battlefield, you had Street Fighter 4 came out on it, Mortal Kombat. All the Guitar Hero games and Rock Band, these were all big deals. These were all big franchises on the 360. Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, and Oblivion. But as things start to happen, this is where franchises start to kind of lose exclusivity and kind of mush into the PS3 as well. So you just multi-platform is another big thing here. This is where multi-platforming is taking its shape. Everything's timed, multi-platform, all the big games, because games became so expensive, you just couldn't risk locking it behind a console.
Yeah, which is less fun. Also, just the underlying hardware. I guess the PS3 hardware probably wasn't similar for some reason, but now everything's just a fucking computer.
Oh, yeah, everything is a computer. It's just, what computer do you have? Yeah. Everything is very samey. Development got a lot easier. I think it's still different enough on Nintendo, but between Xbox and PlayStation or a computer, what are you even doing? They're the same.
I'm going to say, I think you missed Fallout and Mass Effect, but we don't need to go over literally every franchise on the Xbox 360.
Yes. No, but those are huge games and they've got big collector's editions. I didn't do a full list of this going off the top of my head. And of course, there's all the racing games and stuff, all the sim games that I missed.
Amazing port of Call of Duty 2 that came out a month after the PC version.
Beautiful.
Yep. Isn't it so cool that if the consoles finally get to see what Call of Duty is all about, we're going to have the sequel be on the consoles too.
Cool. Cool.
And then Call of Duty 4 released on everything at the same time, and then probably every console version outsold PC forevermore.
Forever and ever more. What else do you want to say about the 360? You want to get into some of the big games, some of the big prices? Or should we talk about, before we do that, we should talk about the console variants. Just there was basically 2 releases of this console.
3?
3 big ones?
Yeah.
There was what was the third
There's
one?
3 entire shapes. You're forgetting about the last release. They made like a mini Xbox 360. It's kind of like the mini Wii that no one ever thinks about.
Okay, yeah, I do forget about that mini Wii. That like weird like square black and red one. Yeah. No, I forgot about it. So you have like the original one. There's like a white and a black one that came out, like not those kind of variations, but major hardware revisions. Because that was the other thing that happened. These lived and the chip cycle was long enough that they became less expensive. Chips got better, though that happened before. Shapes changed. Hard drive sizes went up. And then the whole red ring of death and re-architecting that. So you got this kind of like more hourglass shaped version of the 360, which was like smaller and, a smaller power brick made it like a little bit easier. And then I don't even remember the shape of the third one. What was that, Tower?
A personality-less DVD drive. It's a black box with absolutely no personality. And you know what? I don't like the Xbox 360 Slim either. Get the original off-white red ring of death ass Xbox 360 with a hard drive lump on its head. That's an Xbox 360. None of these smaller, no personality black boxes.
I'm going to say get the Halo edition, the green one, the army green with like the copperish disk drive tray and or cover anyways, and then get yourself the Halo 3 Zune to go with it, and you will be rocking and rolling. You will be the most Microsoft that could Microsoft. We did forget one major thing about collecting for the system, Tower, before we even get into the games, some of the other games. Faceplates, my man. Tell me about faceplates.
No, don't collect faceplates. You know why you shouldn't collect faceplates? So first of all, yes, you could take the front faceplate, like literally the front 5% off the console, and put a new faceplate on, which sucks because the rest of the console is still white or black, and then it just looks mishmashed and bad. I think I had one faceplate. It was like a Gears of War faceplate, and I put it on, and I'm like, wow, now my console looks worse, so I took it off.
It is like you put a mask on your console, but nothing else changed. You're like, look at me, I'm Darth Vader. I put this helmet on.
They used to make like console skins where you could like, I'm going to put some tribal tattoos all over my GameCube, but it would come with stickers for like 4 different sides of the GameCube, so the whole thing is covered. And this is just the front, so it sucks. They suck. And if you collect them, it's like impossible, because some of them are like these ultra exclusive, like 1 of 10 contest prizes that you'll never get.
Yep, it was a big deal. And it kind of leads into the later, like, they made a lot of these super exclusive consoles for the Xbox where they were just like painted, but a lot of them were just like these super exclusive faceplates that were everywhere. Like everyone was trying to, so many collector's editions came with a faceplate too. And it's like, the faceplate is big and awkward. It's not like thick or anything, but it's just an awkward shape. So you have these giant boxes for them. But yeah, they would come out and people would go hard and spend a lot of money, $500, $600 on faceplates and stuff. If you wanted these like weird exclusives, there's like a launch edition that was a big deal. So there's a whole thing about exclusive faceplates. Check out that. It's a version of collecting with an Xbox you could do if that's what you're into.
Johnny, do not look it up, how many faceplates are there? And there's 2 categories. There are commercial faceplates, and then there's custom faceplates, which I guess is just like some guys made a faceplate. Give me a ballpark. How many faceplates do you think were released? Let's do real ones, commercial.
100.
990 fucking 2.
Fucking hell, what?
Because there's all these like fucking variants and like one-offs and like, oh, the launch team, we made like 20 different ones for the launch team and each one is a little different, so it counts as 20 different faceplates. And like, oh, there's this charity one and we had like this charity thing and there's like 12 different ones for this specific charity thing. So
some of the big ones I know, there was the Final Fantasy 13 faceplate, Mafia 2 faceplate, Ace Combat, the E3 2005 one.
I remember the
honestly,
E3 2005 one. It's funny because none of these are like the super rare ones. These are the ones that people know. Honestly, speaking of that 360 one, that was the first faceplate that you could get because I think that was given out at E3.
Yep.
So there were 5,000 of those given out at E3, and it's the first one. If you're gonna get any faceplate, and half of the faceplate is the same color as the Xbox 360. It's just white, and it has like a little bit more green flare to it. If you're gonna get any faceplate, that's the one.
That was like, it was like the Ring, so that was a big deal. Like you had your Xbox button in the middle, and it would do that. Like, don't you remember it used to do that spinny thing when you were like loading up too? Like it was that whole animation was a big deal. But yeah, I think you probably should have been given 2 faceplates when you got the Xbox. There should have been a white one, and it should have been this one. Like, I just think a lot of people, because it makes it, they were trying to design hardware that just sat in your living room and looked less obtrusive. But this, like, spoke to the personality of the 360, which is why I like this one.
All right. This faceplate is $200 to $300. I don't know if I could still recommend it, but if, you know what? No, in auctions, it's like $50 to $100. So maybe get that.
Yeah.
They're numbered.
Or
too.
just buy like the Halo one and don't worry about it.
Or just don't get faceplates. Oh my god! I don't look up Xbox 360 faceplates in eBay solds. Oh, just the prices people pay for them are obscene.
It is. It's a whole big thing. People still do it. And the new version of faceplates is like the 3DS came out with their version of the Kasigi or whatever they're called faceplates that went on the new version of the 3DS. Remember those? Pretty cool. Yeah, so you could change, like, instead of having to buy a whole new exclusive, you could get these little faceplates. But those usually were too and like conform to the whole system rather than just this front plate, which did not conform very well.
All right. Anything else you want to go over before we could finally get into the cool collectible stuff that's not faceplates?
No, I think we can talk about the big box games and everything now and all that.
All right. I want to go straight to the top. Straight to the top being like, what are we, an hour into this show now?
Yeah.
I want to talk about what the biggest Xbox 360 stuff are. What are people paying the money for, Johnny?
Number
one,
tell me, Tyler.
is NBA Elite 11, which has come up very frequently on recent shows. I don't think we need to talk about it. It was an NBA Elite game that was shipped to stores and then canceled before the release date, and then they had to be sent back and destroyed. It got canceled because they put out a demo and it got such bad press, they literally canceled the whole game, and like that ended the NBA Elite series for a while. That much of a disaster of a game. But canceled, and then some copies got out there because people stole them or stores broke street date, and now this game is impossible to find. It's stadium events. It's $5,000 plus. You're the coolest guy if you have one.
Are we going to look back, though, in 10 years and be like, man, that was a good deal? Or are we going to think people are stupid?
No. I mean, like, I remember when, like, kind of the word on the street price for, like, an NWC Gold was $20,000, and now it's $400,000. And do I look back and be like, wow, $20,000 was a good deal? Like, no, $20,000 was the price, and I could have bought a ton of things for $20,000 that would have been more sensible things to buy. So I don't think that I'll ever think of it as being a good deal at, $5 or $10.
Oh, Tyler, I love that you just said that, though, because people don't think about it like that. They're like, I missed such a good deal. And you're just like, you could have put that money anywhere and it would have been worth more than whatever you.
Right. If instead of buying NWC Gold in 2010, you bought Bitcoin, it's like, oh, that would have been a way better deal. Like, yeah.
But this is a fallacy that people fall into, and they talk about themselves and they have these long-term regrets. They're like, I messed up. I didn't do the thing. I could have done the thing. Man, you can't beat yourself up about these kinds of things. The past is gone. Doesn't matter if you could have got it. If you weren't buying it then, if you didn't really want to buy it then like, it doesn't really matter. It's gone. You could have literally put that money anywhere. anyway, you would bought Apple stock, you would be doing amazing. Like, not even having to be as like big a speculation as Bitcoin. You could have just been like, I'm putting my money in Apple. I did great.
Yeah, exactly. But also, assuming that you didn't have like the prescience to buy some $20,000 investment, speculative or otherwise, if you bought anything before 2021, like you did fine. Just having video games, like your stuff is probably worth twice what it used to be. And now the dollar is worth like some amount less than it used to be, and things even out, and we're all gonna die and have too much stuff. Don't worry about it. Put money into a real retirement account, and don't worry about the value of your video games. How about?
Your
that was my shout out for 401ks this episode.
yeah. Every episode, we're gonna keep telling you, don't buy video games. Put more money in your 401k. Yes. Now, but we're always wrong about this, so obviously that's going to crash, and you should have bought collectibles. Buy Pokemon cards, guys. All right, go on, Tyler.
F1 2013. I have some new info on this.
Ooh.
This game's around. This is $200 plus. I think this is actually closer to $300. This is the rare F1 game, compared to F1 2012 and 2014, which are not rare. Bird Dog Gaming, I think, in the Discord speculated that this might have been a regional exclusive or a Mexican exclusive, because that's the only thing that would explain its rarity. I have nothing to back this up, except for the fact that there are Mexican exclusive video games that show up on US eBay all the time. Chavez 2. We're going to be talking about some other Madden games that only came out in Mexico as well, or maybe the Southwest US. Exactly. Yeah. So maybe it was a Mexican exclusive.
But remember, Mexico is part of North America, and that's where we collect games for.
Johnny, Child's Miracle Network family games. If I just said a series of words and I'd be I would look at that and be like, oh, that's gotta be like the rarest Xbox 360 thing. What the hell is Child's Miracle Network family games?
It's a collection of games brought out for a charity event. That's bundled with like 4 games, and I can't remember how they're bundled. Or was it only 3? There's multiple versions of it.
There's multiple versions on PS2, I think. But
is that all?
This one on Xbox 360, it's Viva Pinata Party Animals, everyone's favorite Viva Pinata game, Shrek the Third, and Sonic 06. This is quite a bundle. But I think...
Is that a worse collection of games than the Sega Championship or the Blockbuster Championship?
It's so bad. The thing is, this was like, I think this came out in 2008. Like, these games weren't even that old, and this was a $30 bundle. So, like, these were clearly like, well, these were commercial failures. We will literally give these games away to charity. And this $30 bundle, Microsoft donated all the proceeds to Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Which, great, except apparently not a lot of them sold, or not a lot of them were kept with this outer case, because this isn't that easy to find, and now it sells for like $200. But I think this thing looks cool. It's like such a weird bundle. It's like this charity bundle that like most games don't look like this. It's like clearly a thing that's like meant to be this special charity thing. The other thing we'll talk about, which the Madden 09 breast cancer slipcover. So there's like it's not Susan G. Komen. It's one of the other companies, but it's got the big pink ribbon slipcover over Madden, which is another thing that's like, oh, I immediately recognize this is something weird and special.
True. And what else we got?
I think so. This Children's Miracle Network family games, I was trying to find out how it got distributed, and there's a Best Buy product page on it that has reviews. So I think you could just have like bought this at Best Buy.
That's weird.
Which is weird considering how rare.
I thought it was given out at like an event.
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't figure it out.
One time,
this is not So You Want to Collect. This is us reacting to Xbox. So I feel like I'm not feeling too bad about not having the details here.
Yeah, that's Children's Miracle Network is a whole big charity thing aside from this that goes on like constantly. If it's still happening, I don't know, but I remember seeing commercials for it all the time when I was a kid.
So the great part about this is because this is from 2008, there's definitely a forum post about when this was released and people will be discussing it. You could probably find something on fucking cheapassgamer.com about this. But if it came out today, all the discussion would be on social media and it would be gone forever. So
that's true.
Go check out cheapassgamer.com and search for Children's Miracle Network family games.
Yeah, it was $30. Get that sweet game, those sweet games.
Johnny, tell me about Korean Wally and just
why it's expensive. There's nothing to say about Korean Wally except that it's Korean. So their Korean games are notoriously expensive and exclusive because they are hard to get out of Korea. And Wally happens to be one of the Korean games that you could get on the 360. So it makes it like kind of expensive, but there was also like Splatterhouse.
Kind of expensive. It's more than like twice as expensive as any other Xbox 360 game.
How much is it, Tyler?
You told me $700 plus ?
Did I tell you that?
I believe you told me that at some point. Otherwise, I wouldn't have wrote that down. Give me a real price. What's the real price then?
Okay, yeah, it's like $700. Okay. I don't know why the rest of it is. So it's also rare. So again, it's Korean and it's also rare. I say that, but there are two on eBay right now. And yeah, they're actually sold for over 500. There's a sold for 700. You've also got like Lost Odyssey, Halo Reach is on there, like Assassin's Creed. Korean games are hard to get. So even the bad ones like a Lego Batman is still like over $100 on, when it's a Korean game. So, English collectors go crazy because it's notoriously hard to get stuff out of Korea.
So our theory is that this is very expensive because the Korean Xbox 360 set is very small. It's like a couple dozen games. Well, actually, it technically says 75 games according to this list. That's still very small. So if Wally is exceptionally rare, that might be like the top of the set for a very small set, which would explain it.
Yes. So, and there's always going to be the one, right? There's always that one game that like is just at the top because it got the clout, whether it deserved it or not. And it's now the expensive. It's the rule of Rose. Guys,
it's Wally. It's the Wally Xbox 360 game. I love Wally, but I mean, like, come on. $700?
You underestimate Disney people.
All right, I want to move on.
Okay.
I love the next thing, and I didn't know it existed. Okay, and I don't even like the game. Call of Duty World at War box set. Quote unquote box set. It's called just the box set. And it includes Enemy at the Gates on DVD. That's amazing. This is
such
good.
a ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous bundle. I cannot believe this thing exists.
It's so weird, and it's so rare, and it's probably just rare because like everyone who bought this is just like, huh, and they like rip off the box set and they throw it out and they just have a DVD and an Xbox game. Yeah. Enemy at the Gates is it's like a sniper, but it's a World War II sniper movie. What matters is this is a Call of Duty game and a mediocre World War II movie slapped together in a box set, and the last one sold for $500. Yes, I love it.
I think the last January, when was that? No, February 5th was $500. January 25th, $750 our best offer. So we're not sure on what the actual price was, but.
And then there was another sale in 2021 for $99, which that guy sniped before anyone knew what this was.
Dude, what a baller.
I love it. We don't see enough games bundled with movies. That seems like such an obvious marketing opportunity, but why don't we see that?
I don't know. I think lots of games were bundled with movies, Tyler. They just did it in slim cases. Like they just made it a double pack in the actual game case instead of like making it a weird outer box situation. Remember they put there's a whole Shield version. Like, remember they put like the WB did like the Shield game. So back to like Lego Batman, there was like that one, Lego Harry Potter, not Saw, but Fear had one. So there was like 5 of these. Scooby-Doo. There's like a bunch of these games that came with DVDs. And then a bunch of games just like had DVDs built into them anyways.
What the heck are you talking about?
That like they just came packed in, not built in, like built into the case.
Oh, yeah. But no, I like that this came with like a whole ass retail DVD.
Oh, yeah. This one's a weird one. And like a lot of games that came with DVDs, they would just have them like wrapped. When it came with like a retail copy of the DVD, they would just be bundled together, right? And then like thrown out there. This one, they created a special box for it where they were like, you know what you really need? The perfect marketing combination is these 2 items together, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but okay. They did that.
All right. Johnny, I love this. There's not a lot like it. I don't think there's nothing even in the Xbox 360 set like it.
Yeah. Joseph Fiennes and Ed Harris are the other 2 people in this movie that were big names.
All right. Madden 09, we talked about the breast cancer thing. It comes with a slipcover with the pink ribbon on it. This is also on the Wii. And this is for the Deanna Favre Hope Foundation, not Susan G. Komen. How much of their money goes to charity? The world may never know. But this is rare and exciting, and this is something that people have always kind of thought. Like if I was trying to list cool Xbox 360 things off the top of my head, this would be one of the only things I even know exists. This goes for like $275.
Was this not on the PS3?
What's up?
Was it not on the Was it not on the PS3 as well?
I did not find it on the PS3. It's possible because they only wanted to make one size slipcover. I don't know.
Yeah,
because the PS3 has smaller cases.
Yeah, so and that's the other thing. So there's been speculation you could just move the slipcase from like the Wii one or the Xbox one to the Wii one. It does have a distinct barcode, so make sure you look at the back of this thing if you're going to spend the kind of money on this, and make sure you're getting the right barcode on the back of your game.
Yeah, we wanted to come here with the hot tips of getting a Wii version and swapping it, but I can't do that.
Yeah, now I want to warn you against shady people who would take advantage of you. If it's exactly the same, switch them out. If it's different at all, gotta stay with original components.
All right. This is a bonus one. There's a Madden 11 variant, and I only know about this because it came up in a search for the Madden 09 variant. It's a Susan G. Komen sticker on the front of a copy of Madden 11. I have no idea what that signifies. I think it's actually on the shrink wrap, but the only copy on eBay is being sold by Joan Bone right now for $200, which, man, if you care about this, which I don't know that you should, like, fine, because where are you going to find another copy of this?
Yeah, and that one was released on the Wii, the 360, and the PS3, by the way.
Which one?
The little label up over on the left-hand side. For Madden 11.
The sticker? Oh, yeah. One a Wii one just sold for $130. So this like has clout. People want this sticker variant. Wow.
Yeah. And there's also a DS, a breast cancer DS, if you're interested in breast cancer.
All right. Yeah, if you're
we can do a whole show. We can do
variants.
We can do a breast cancer awareness show.
Just start a shelf, guys.
Yeah.
I spent an average of $300 in all these games instead of donating the money to breast cancer research. I'm just really into breast cancer. What can I say?
When you put it like that, it does seem ridiculous. You're like, oh yeah. Oh, I needed these breast cancer games. Why? Because you care about it? Yeah. That, but also they're super collectible. Did you donate any money to actually fight breast cancer? No. I just wanted these video game systems. They got a pink ribbon on them. Cool.
Johnny, since we're speaking about the Maddens, I want to bring up some of my favorite Xbox 360 games, which I think are underrated.
Oh, is it Madden?
Madden 08 and Madden 09 on Espanol. So there were specific versions of Madden released. These are on PS2 as well, in Spanish. And these are anywhere from $10 up to like $100. And a lot of them are sealed. But like you could find these in like the $10 to $30 range. And they're like uncommon and weird. Like these clearly didn't have nationwide releases, and they're clearly not anywhere near as common as Madden. Like they're not common at all. They're probably some of the rarest games in the set because they had limited releases. I don't know why these aren't more popular to collect. They're always available cheap. A lot of them are in bad condition, but I'm in. Go get Madden 08 and 09 on Espanol. That's so cool that there's like a specific Spanish language version of Madden just for those years. Someone can correct me that they maybe they made other years. I'm pretty sure it's only 08 and 09. And go get them on PS2 as well. Oh, I'm so all the way in. I just posted one in our Discord. It was like $10. Like it was either $10 or $10 shipped for like it's sealed, I think. It's ridiculous how cheap these are sometimes. Because some people look at them and they're just like, oh, it's Madden. Not realizing like Madden en Espanol, there's like one other copy on eBay sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends how you view your collection. I like to look at my collection and see interesting things within my collection because I'm looking at my collection for myself. Yeah, if you like to like put variety into your collection so you can see kind of like the breadth of your collection and where it goes, these are fun little additions. I like stuff like this.
So our favorite YouTuber, Jason Graves, just put out a 2-hour video ranking all the Maddens. Do you remember, is Madden 08 up there? Was that like one of the S tier Maddens? Anyway.
I did not watch the 2-hour Madden
video. You didn't watch the 2-hour Madden video? Are you kidding? So many people in our Discord watched that video.
They are, and I was like, no. I was down with stomach flu and I still didn't watch it. I was like, no, I can't
believe you've done this. Hold on. I'm literally going through the video right now to
confirm.
Yeah, Madden 08 is Patrick Mahomes tier. That is the highest tier. So Madden 08 Espanol, that's the rare version of an S tier Madden game. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice. Get the most interesting version of one of the best Maddens. Go for it. According to Jason Graves.
According to Jason Graves, YouTuber with 20,000 subs.
Yep.
All right, Johnny. Fallout 3 Mothership Zeta. So Fallout 3 had 5.
Oh, hold on. You're going to Fallout and the first thing you're talking about is DLC?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a whole other section for limited edition garbage.
Okay.
So there were 5 physical DLC releases for Fallout 3. Guys, it was the late 2000s. It was a crazy world. This is just something we did sometimes. This was the last physical DLC for Fallout 3, but it's just a code in a box. So in a very real sense, this is nothing. And this sells for like $100 and only comes up once a month, which isn't that rare. I can't believe there are enough people who want a code in a box thing that they'll spend $100 on it. But I guess like, I don't know. I think some people just don't care about code in a box type stuff. I think maybe I'm a dying breed of like, I really care what the thing I'm buying is, not just like what it represents or like that it's a cool box for my shelf. Like if I see like the what is it? The Baldur's Gate 3 collector's edition is a great example. Like really cool collector's edition, doesn't come with a physical copy of the game. I don't fucking care. But like no one else apparently thinks like that because it's worth way more than it was MSRP.
Well, it goes beyond that too, Tyler. People are buying this without even the code in the box. Like, you know, the little code card that's in there? Some people are just buying the case without even like the ripped code card in there.
I have to imagine people are just really big Fallout 3 fans and they have the other 4 DLCs and they just need it on their shelf because they'll die without having, you know, knowing that this box is out there and they don't have it.
Okay. I mean, or you could just buy a Fallout 3 Game of Year edition for the Xbox One and 360. Do that instead. No, Tyler, how do you feel? If you were going to buy one of these, would you need would you need the code card in there?
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't need it to be like sealed, but yeah, it needs to have the code card. Especially when I'm spending $100. No, it doesn't matter what the price is. Like, yeah, I need the code card in there. What are you talking about? I'm going to buy an empty, let alone the fact that it's a code in a box. I'm going to buy it without the code even? Like, that would drive me absolutely insane.
I agree with you, Tyler, 100%. I just wanted to bring it up because I knew you would have a passionate take on it.
Yeah, it's not even like a piece of paper. It's like a little plastic card. Like, all right, I mean, it's not much. It doesn't even have a manual, but it's like there's something in here. It's so dumb that it comes in a DVD case. It really
you could have just been sold as the card, like
at the gift card rack. Yeah,
yeah. It did not need to be like this, but they put it in this whole box. They did 4 DLCs you said for this, and there's another one which is called Point Lookout, and I like this. It's like, do I like this enough to put this in the horror catalog? Because there's basically like a mutant with an axe going into a cabin. It looks like a horror game. And I'm like, they even gave it like horror font. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Does that make a good addition to the Halloween collection? And then that's what made me actually have to think about it. It's like, oh, well, if I get this, I got to spend more money because I couldn't. One, I already don't want to buy something like this, but I couldn't imagine just buying it without the card inside. That would just feel like the worst. What would I even be doing?
Yeah, Point Lookout is an expensive one too. It's clearly more common than Mothership Zeta, but that's another one that's just the DLC card. See, so there's the one that's just the DLC card, and then they bundled it. They have Broken Steel and Point Lookout on a disc, just like... If you want to go down the Fallout 3 rabbit hole, there's some stupid stuff to collect. I'm not the biggest Fallout 3 fan. I guess it's neat that it exists, but not really. I'm not into this at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Fallout collectors Fallout people are wild about Fallout, and they want all the stuff. So I'm not going to sit there and begrudge them their collectibles.
All right, here's what I'll say. There's a lot of stuff out there that is like the kind of thing that people wouldn't save. What am I thinking of? Like the Breath of the Wild DLC, the little card you can go buy at Walmart. To go buy the DLC that way rather than buying it from your console. Or you remember those promo card? What were these? They were like DVD case sized promo cards for games that came with Xbox 360 games.
Yeah,
I remember like having a stack of those. I would just collect those.
Pre-orders.
Though,
there was pre-orders you could buy. You would go spend your $5 and they'd give you like a case with a lot of times that different artwork. And then you'd come back and you'd bring your receipt, which you would usually keep in that box so you didn't lose it. And then you'd go back to the store and then they'd give you the game when it came out.
Like there's all this not game stuff that like no one cares about, or like there's so much of it out there. Like how much can anyone really care about any single one? Like I guess it's kind of cool that this is something that everybody, because it comes in a DVD case and has the same form factor of a game, everyone kind of agrees that this has value and it's cool to collect. I guess there's something to that. But again, obviously not for me. You should go get the horror DLC that you want.
Yeah, it just looks, I have to go through my whole evaluation to see if it really qualifies, which I don't know if it does, but it looks cool. And you know, it looks, they really made it look horror, and I do appreciate that. I wouldn't mind, like, I don't know if I'd feature it for Halloween, but I wouldn't mind it in the collection.
All right.
That's saying a lot.
This one, I'm going to need we're going to need someone to write into us, to reach out to us and tell us what's going on. Racket Boy, kind of like it's the best one-stop shop if you don't want to do any research, to just like get an overview of some cool stuff, right? It's not going to be, you know, if you go see like I can't even think of a bad website. If you saw like a CNET article on the rarest Xbox 360 games, you're like, okay, that's bullshit. But Racket Boy, at least run by a collector.
Yeah, does some work, does due diligence, takes feedback. I got nothing bad to say about the Racket Boy articles. It's an excellent starting spot.
Yeah, and they've got like a forum full of collectors there too.
Yeah.
They have CNET bright lights, big screen, the French-Canadian variant, And they say it's so exceptionally rare, they can't even find a price on it. How is this?
I'm sorry, what?
How does this even come up? Who is thinking about this? What are you talking about? Racket Boy, what are you talking? Seen it, bright lights, big screen, the French Canadian variant. This is like legit on your list of the rarest Xbox 360. This isn't in like the special mentions. This is in like the top 10. And it's so rare, there's no pricing data. And this isn't like it's not brought up as like, also there's this weird variant. Like, what are we talking about here?
That's very weird.
My guess is that it's like an actual French language version of the game and like has all unique voiceovers. And I guess like, do other games not usually do that? And so this is like a special thing, but that's just like so weird, right?
That is weird. I wonder, is there any kind of contingent of Seen It collectors? Because there's like, what, probably 10 unique Seen It games across consoles?
I'm sure, yeah. No, there's no Seen It collectors. Just like there's no clown collectors, just like there's no shark game collectors.
If there's not shark collectors, then why do I have a whole shark collection?
I don't know what's wrong with you.
Why do I have some clown games then, Tyler?
You just have some clown games. That's all I could say.
Why are we doing a clown episode if people don't collect it?
Johnny, there's no Seen It collectors.
I'm just wondering because look, there's all these individual console releases, and then does it count? Do all the Seen It board games count as video games? You interact with the controller, and there's video.
I think Seen It kind of a pop culture phenomenon. If you can get a first print Seen It original board game, I think that's like maybe something. I mean, I don't think it's probably super common, but I think like there's probably a place in board game history. Do people collect historic board games? Like no one would like collect Seen It because like you only have so much room for board games. But like that probably deserves a spot. It's like it's not Xbox 360, but it's something. It's a phenomenon. It probably sold millions of copies.
Is it a video game?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's absolutely a video game. So are there Seen It collectors? If you collect video games, like, do you got to go get the Seen It set? If you're collecting all the video games.
I think we've done an episode on weird things to collect. I mean, maybe
we did an episode. Did we include Seen It in that episode?
I don't know, but like this is definitely like there are video games that literally no one collects. And yeah, this is like when I talk about things like plug and play consoles and electronic games. And I'm not talking about like popular, like Tiger electronic games. I'm talking about you go to Walgreens and Walgreens has like 3 different electronic games that no one's ever heard of. And like Seen It. And these are video games and they will never get any respect and no one will ever care that you have a collection. And you could build like an entire shelf full of video games that no one cares about. Like no one even has a list of, there's just nothing. They're just like in the abyss. And I think that's kind of cool.
Every time I go into any kind of hobby and I look at it and I just see that there's no good lists anywhere, I am just so scared for these people. Like, how do you collect and know anything without any lists? And if you collect Seen It, man, there are so many Seen It's. There are so many.
There's a lot of Seen It's. Yes.
80s Seen It, comedy scene Seen It, Marvel Seen It, Marvel Seen, Disney 1, 2, and 3, Seinfeld. Like every popular series had a Seen It. 007, well, come on. How many Seen It's do you want?
None. But they're all video games. See, like if you started collecting Seen It just because it's like, oh, no one collects this, it's technically a video game, and it's kind of like an important board game because it's smash hit and DVDs and all that. Like, what are you gonna do with the full collection of Seen It? Because there's like, if there's like 90 board game sized boxes, like, what you're gonna have an entire bookcase dedicated to Seen It in your house? It would be striking because it would be like, wow, you're like really into this, and you'd just be like, no, I never played it. I'm just like, I just think it's really interesting that no one collects this.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. It's interesting. Could you
Funny
imagine?
thing is, like, I bet Cena is really uninteresting. I bet it's like really easy trivia because it has to be like a family game for everyone. So it has to be like the most obvious movies, the easiest questions. So it probably sucks. I'll be really interested if like Harry Potter Scene It was just like super obscure and it like really forced you to know like both the books and the movies.
Oh. It's not. I've played it. And it's based off the movies because it's Seen It from movies. There's a Seen It collector on YouTube.
Is it the Rookie Critic?
One. No, this is David Akoa.
All right, cool.
Then there's a video, Tyler. This is for us right here. This is the kind of shit we're into right here. The History of Seen It board games by the Rookie Critic a year ago. I'm sending you this video. Me and you are definitely going to watch this video.
All right. So see, the thing is, you will someone will talk to you about you'll have like at least one person to connect with if you collect Seen It games. And dude, imagine if you're the one who gets, what is it? Seen It Bright Lights Big Screen, the French Canadian version with the French language, and you bring that to your Seen It collector. Like, you'll have a guy who like knows what that is. And you'll be like, oh my God, you got that? I can't believe you got that. That's like the Seen It Holy Grail right there. It'll be like having Green Dog on the Game Gear. You'll have the one guy who knows what you have.
Yeah, they'll be so pleased with you. They'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy got it. I've been looking for that. I'm so jealous. And that's the high of highs in video game collecting. When you can take your thing that's super dumb and obscure and show it to someone else. And they just tell you that they're jealous. You just need that validation just for them to go, oh, I'm jealous. And you're like, I know you are. And I'm so pleased I have this.
Isn't that why we all collect?
Yeah. I'm showing you because I knew you'd be jealous, but also happy for me. It's okay to be both things, by the way. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Johnny, I just want to come at the people with that. Since we're talking about Seen It, there is a small board game YouTuber who has done a video on DVD board games, including Seen It, called Cam Sandwich, Kam Sandwich. Maybe a little bit Scott the Woz inspired, and I'm a real big fan of him. So Jason Graves and Cam Sandwich, two YouTubers I think you guys should check out.
All right. Back to Xbox.
All right, yeah. Once you get over 100,000 subs, you sell out to the algorithm, and I hate you. But if you're a small YouTuber, I'm so into you, dude. I love your small content.
Jason Graves is doomed. He's gonna get more followers.
Is he? It's the 2-hour Madden videos. It's what people want.
Yeah, he's giving the people what they want. They're definitely gonna be flocking to the Madden video.
All right, that's all.
Actually, the Madden video is like super mainstream, so that actually might draw in viewers. Who knows?
That's all I had for the rare stuff. Let me look at the Racket Boy article. They're talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance Gold. I mean, that's definitely not rare. That's just like a game people really like.
Desirable, yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked about it, and I like it. That's the one to buy. We've talked about it.
There's a couple of college sports games. There's NCAA 14, College Hoops 2K8, NCAA Basketball 10. I think those are well regarded, and we were just like in a drought for a long time of college sports games following 2014. And so those games went up. Also,
I mean, we didn't mention this, we should have, but we didn't mention microtransactions as being part of like the ecosystem of the 360 in this era of games. I can't even believe we didn't bring that up, actually, because Horse Armor. We've talked about it so many times. I don't know how we didn't re-bring this up, but a lot of these sports games, like they got, like there's this cutoff of like before microtransactions and then after microtransactions ruin them. So you kind of have that split on the 360.
And I think that's why some of these games like NCAA Football 14 are still beloved because... So first of all, yeah, the NCAA games stopped for a while after that, and now the new ones are going to be full of like the loot box bullshit, whatever an EA game is now. So neat.
Yep.
We can go back to some other more expensive Xbox 360 games, Johnny, but I want to get into the limited editions.
Ooh, because that's another part of this game cycle. This is a big deal in this era. Collector's editions, limited editions for everything.
So that's kind of the problem. Like, we could literally just sit here and rattle off collector's editions that cost like $100 to $200 forever. So I just want to focus first on the biggest of the big.
The Pip-Boy?
Sure, we could go there. The Fallout 3 Survival Edition, which comes in a crate-sized box because it includes a shitty plastic reimplementation of a Pip-Boy, which, if you don't play Fallout, it's a little computer that you wear on your arm. I think it was like, what was it? It was like an alarm clock? It wasn't an actual, like, computer. I think it was an alarm clock, right?
I think so. I don't even remember.
My
It's been
stupid
so long.
friend had one. He bought this big stupid box, and then he's not a collector, so he immediately threw it out. And I was like, good decision.
My friend also did this, but he's just a big Fallout guy, so he was like, "Yeah, I got it."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an alarm clock. Yep, it is. It's maybe a clock radio. Oh yeah, kids, if you don't know, our alarm clocks used to be built in with radios back in the day. That was just a thing before phones.
Yeah, we also used to have calculators, and yeah, it was wild how many things your phone does for you now.
So, all right. So I just want to be clear. So there's Fallout 3, obviously. That's just the game. Then there's the Fallout 3 lunchbox, and that was like a special edition that came with a bobblehead. And I think you could just get that on its own, right?
Yeah, it came with a Pip-Boy. Or not Pip-Boy. Yeah, it came with the what is he called?
Yeah, Fallout Boy,
Yeah,
Go look up Fallout Boy CD to see. You can see what that guy looks like. Is he Vault Boy? I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is Vault Boy. But yeah, he's everywhere. He's the propaganda.
Yeah,
he's a proper propaganda mascot. Man, that was more challenging than it needed to be.
So there's the tin lunchbox, and then the survival edition comes with a huge box around the tin lunchbox, and then a separately packaged Pip-Boy alarm clock. The Pip-Boy alone, this freaking alarm clock, not rare. Everyone was into Fallout 3, $200 to $400, just the Pip-Boy.
Yeah, there's like an $800 item,
and like the whole package is not even that much more expensive, because I don't think people want the giant box. They just want the Pip-Boy. Because people are like, I don't know where I'm going to put this thing.
Cosplayers, man. These lunchboxes were everywhere. The lunchbox for Fallout is equivalent to the Shin Megami Tensei stuffy pack for PS2.
I remember telling people in 2020, because that's when like NES was really popping off, and so I was like, all right, let me go let's go look at what sealed GameCube and Xbox shit is. I was telling people to buy the Fallout 3 lunchbox sealed, because sometimes the sealed lunchbox would sell cheaper than a sealed first print copy of Fallout 3, and every lunchbox has a do not sell before first print copy of Fallout 3. But the overall survival edition, almost no one's selling them. It just seems like a big pain in the ass. Like, I wouldn't even want to find a box big enough to ship it. The last one sold in Australia for $400, like literally in like the same price as just the Pip-Boy and the lunchbox alone, but the whole thing like basically got zero premium. And there's some listed in the $900 range in the US, but no one's buying them. It's the worst. It's the worst.
It is pretty terrible. And this is the other thing. So it's not like this was your only way to get a Pip-Boy too, because with Fallout 4, they also did a Pip-Boy edition.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Definitely like the Game of the Year edition of Fallout 4 came with a Pip-Boy.
What the heck is this? That Pip-Boy is also like $100 or $200. And it's also a stupid thing you wear in your wrist, but this one just doesn't look functional. This one just looks like decorative. Oh no. So it has like a little screen in it, and the screen just views a piece of paper that's kind of shoved in there. So I guess you could replace the piece of paper with whatever you want. That's so lame.
Yeah. I mean, there was also, this thing has to be on the Xbox One as well.
All right. Well, there's that thing. Great. You Pip-Boy fans can go collect more Pip-Boys. You know what you should get? If you're going to spend $300 on Fallout 3, I don't know, maybe just get like a big box copy of Fallout if you're a Fallout fan. Like, it's like $300. It's like an expensive PC game. But it's really cool because it's the first Fallout. And the only good one. I said it. What's up? What's up, my Fallout 1 gang who thinks Fallout 2 is just too long? Also, Johnny.
Yes.
That Nickelodeon alarm clock with like the little green squiggle on it, you know what I'm talking about. Are you too old to know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm too old.
You're too old to know. All right, I'm talking to my fellow exactly 35-year-old millennials. That Nickelodeon alarm clock is like hella collectible now, and everyone had one, and they're like $100 to $150, and I'm talking like $300 to $500 in box. This was just a extremely 90s alarm clock. If you look for Nickelodeon alarm clock radio, there's probably 100 of them on eBay, but they're everyone remembers them and they're just super collectible now. I would buy that over the Pip-Boy 100%.
What is this thing? This is a thing?
Look at it. Look at how cool it looks,
I've never seen this before in my life.
Johnny, when I'm at the flea market, like this is one of the top 3 things I'm looking for because I know it's common, and if they have one, I know it's gonna be $10. But man, I like remember like 3 of my friends must have had these in their rooms when I was a kid.
For my era, it was the Garfield alarm clock.
The Garfield. So it has to be common enough that I could just search Garfield alarm clock on eBay and I'll find it. Is this horrifying head?
Yep. You got it.
This is horrifying. I hate this.
Yeah, his mouth is open, and in the space between his teeth is the numbers.
Why? Oh man.
Everyone had this fucking clock. Everyone had this clock.
Jesus.
Yeah. I had this clock. I had it twice, as a matter of fact.
All right.
I might still have it somewhere.
Johnny, Xbox 360 limited editions. The top of the top.
There are so many.
It has always been at the top.
Tell me the tippiest top. No, you said the biggest before, so I was like, the Pip-Boy? All right. Tippy top. Tell me.
I think, well, I mean, all right, I think there was technically like a $1 million Saints Row limited edition that didn't sell. That was like a marketing gimmick. We're not going to count that. The one you could get, Dead Space Ultra Limited Edition, limited to 1,000, only sold via the EA Online store. There's a few of them available, but this is like I think this is something that if you put it on your shelf, people will know what it is because it's very striking. I really like that it doesn't say Dead Space on the box and it just has like Isaac's face and maybe an ESRB logo. I don't remember, but it's like very simple packaging. And like, I think simple packaging makes something look important. And I think this looks important. It's kind of cool.
I do like it. It's just the hand, right? Is his face on there too?
Maybe I'm making up what it looks like. Is it just a hand? You're right. It's just the hand. It's not. It's Isaac's
the dead.
Face.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just. I'm like, no. It's just the hand floating in space. That's very reminiscent of the original Dead Space. It also comes with the art book in it, the little like rectangular art book, which was a pre-order bonus, and it comes with some other stuff. But I like this very much, and have considered purchasing it.
Yeah, it's like, what is it, $600 or $700? Yeah,
$700 at the low.
I mean, there's a few on eBay, which, 1,000 limit. That's an actual limited edition, whereas most limited editions are like complete bullshit. I don't know if that's ultra limited, but yeah, this is the only actually limited thing on the Xbox 360 until you get into faceplates.
Yeah, I mean, and that was like a retailish item. That wasn't like some weird thing like, oh, how would you even get something like this? This
exactly.
was.
And it's like a super beloved game. Like, people love Dead Space, and Dead Space is super good. So,
yep. And now you can play the remaster on the PS5.
Don't do that. I mean,
$15 at Target, guys. Go get it. No, seriously, go get it. If you don't own Dead Space, do yourself.
No, what? Go spend $5 on it and just play the original. What does that game need to be remastered for?
Just a lot of people aren't able to play it on this thing. Just go get the one you can play.
Go get
I don't care.
The PC
Download
version
a copy
for $9 shipped. Go figure out how to put that DVD in. That PC port was so good in a time where like PC ports were like kind of bad a lot of the time. Man, this PC port fucking ruled. You could have like a 6600 GT and this thing would run at 80 FPS.
Or go to Target and for $15,
go
get a
15?
PS5
I thought
copy.
you said 50.
No, 15.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, just go by that. I hate when they remaster a game and like barely do anything to it and then charge full price again. It's just like the reason I'm paying for a game is like all the design work that went into it originally. So if all you did is like upscale some textures and like slap it back onto a DVD, that's not real. That's not worth the full price again.
Yeah, I think they did that. There was like a limited run had like a super special edition. This is just like the basic ass retail release if you want to play it. So go do that.
All right, Johnny, there's another weird one. And it's Titanfall Collector's Edition on the Xbox 360. If you would have asked me, I didn't even realize, is Titanfall
I thought that was an
Xbox 360 game?
I thought it was an Xbox One game.
That's why I think the Xbox 360 Collector's Edition is rare, because you had to be willing to spend, this was probably like a $200 Collector's Edition. It comes with an enormous statue, but you had to be spending $200 on Titanfall instead of buying an Xbox One. So that's kind of crazy, right? Like, who bought this?
What?
So dedicated to Xbox 360 that you're just like, yeah, I'm going to buy this crate-sized statue for instead of the new console.
Huh. Titanfall was really popular for a minute.
Titanfall was really popular for a minute.
Titanfall was definitely on the Xbox One, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah, no, that's the one, like, you would go into GameStop and, like, they would have, like, a bin full of Titanfall and Titanfall 2.
Yeah, and there's a special controller for it. Yeah.
There's a special
controller. I bought the controller.
I have no idea. But okay.
Yeah. They when they released, like, hey, we did a controller for this game. Like, not anything. It was just controller.
Okay. You love your special controllers.
Yeah. It's not so much that I love my special controllers. This one is an orange, black, and white. So it was like, hey, it's like Halloween colors. So I bought it. Even though it's like a mech game. I was just like, I like the color palette of this.
So this statue is enormous. What I really like is limited editions that have incredibly high production numbers. So these are numbered. The PC version is numbered to 35,000. So
Jiminy Christmas, what the heck?
So, like, they're technically out there, but even if you have this, you don't want to sell it because it's enormous. But the Xbox 360 version, even rarer than the PC version in terms of copies for sale. And, like, who resells, like, modern PC games? No one's like, oh, I have a PC game. I bet that's worth some money. I think this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I think you look at this and you're like, who would have ever bought this? This literally doesn't make any sense to buy.
It doesn't. What a weird thing to exist. Now I was going to say, and Titanfall was like a system pusher too. So it was like a reason to go beyond the one.
Yeah, so exactly. So I really like when there is an expensive and uncommon to rare game, and it's so clear why it's rare. Like, this is so clearly like buying this made no financial sense. Like, sometimes, like, I don't know, like F1 2013, like, we don't really know. But this is like, yeah, this is so clear. Like, you should have bought an Xbox One, idiot.
You were a dummy. You messed up.
All right, there's one more big one. One might say the biggest one, Johnny.
Bigger than Pip-Boy?
Rock Band. Band 2. Rock Band biggest. Beatles.
Never mind. I retract my statement. Yeah, the biggest.
The biggest. One of the only boxes, definitely the biggest box that I've ever thrown out since I've started collecting video games. I'm just like, I can't deal with this in my house. This is ridiculous. Which, like, if I'm a collector and I'm just like, I look at this and I'm like, I'm not willing to own this for 20 years. It's just not worth it, no matter what price it goes to. That means that there can't be that many of them out there. But The entire original thing, make sure you're not just buying the drums, because the drums alone have a big box. You could get a sealed Rock Band with everything in the $600 range, and that doesn't even seem that crazy to me, considering how big of a game, how big, expensive, and peripheral filled it is.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just going to keep it sealed as like, there it is, that's the representation of Rock Band right there.
Tyler, I also threw mine away.
Yeah, because Rock Band's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's so big. Like, I carried it from like one move, and then after that, like when I was cleaning out the garage one time, I was like, why do I don't care. Whatever it is, if I need this again, if I really feel like I need this again, I'm willing to pay for it twice.
Johnny, I kept I had third-party boxes for like the Exploder controller, like just like guitar boxes, giant guitar boxes, like just hanging around. Like, this has no value in my collection. What am I doing? I finally got rid of all that stuff. I do still have the original Guitar Hero. I think the original Guitar Hero is definitely worth the size. I think Rock Band. It's big. Guitar Hero is a lot easier to justify. It's just the one guitar in the box. The Rock Band box is really big. I would like to have one, but it's just too big, I think, for me.
It's so big, and like, what do you do with it? It's so hard to put anywhere. Yeah.
I think having it sealed is the way to go, because I think if you're going to play Rock Band, there's no way you bust out Rock Band 1 on Xbox 360 with those shitty original peripherals. They put out, every single peripheral has been upgraded. Like, they have better drums, and you could just like plug in real drums now. They had a better guitar that came out. So it's just a collection piece. And I think if you own one and you actually have room for it, that's awesome. And I think Xbox 360 is the platform to do it on, because it's on like PS3 and PS2, but it's an American game. Go get the Xbox version.
I definitely associate Rock Band, not Guitar Hero so much. Guitar Hero, I think of PS2, but Rock Band, I think of exclusively a 360 item. Like, 360 was where you played that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny, I'm sorry that you weren't able to be in college when Rock Band was out, because, man, it was a cool year.
I had friends that did it. I've told this story before, how I did, remember when E3 was canceled?
No, I don't.
So E3 was
like
canceled.
In general, like the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing was canceled. And they went, and some other people like tried to do an alternate E3. They did, I forget what it was called now, even.
Yeah.
But they did. So I have some friends, and they're in a chiptune band, and they got invited to this thing to be talent there. So we got to go do the Rock Band demo for the crowd, like when at the booth, which was weird. Yeah, that's a thing I did.
But they were in a band, so you guys were awesome.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you want to come? We have room to bring extra people. And I was like, yeah, I would love to go. And like, we were brought in, I think, by MTV and stuff. Like, it was weird. Like, I don't know. People, like, we sat in, like, you know how they have all the booths, but like those big booths constructed on top is like seating areas for like the talent, right? That's big air quotes, guys. So you could like sit above and like see down, and like people would bring you food. It was weird. It was a real weird, awesome experience. But yeah, I did that. I Rock Band, and we played Nirvana, and I got to sing, and that was what they told us to do. And I knew the words to the song, so they were like, "All right, you're singing, Johnny. Great." Not well, but I did it in front of a large crowd. It was a weird thing.
You sold some units that day.
I definitely didn't with my singing. I wasn't helping the cause, but yeah.
Johnny, I don't want to go over more. Like, literally every major game had a limited edition. Just to
tell me,
hit some highlights.
Yeah, give me the good stuff.
Oblivion. Oblivion, go buy it. It's excellent, because it's just the double-sized DVD case, and it comes with a septum. It's a little metal coin, and like, that's it. Perfect.
That's cool. Yeah.
Skyrim, they went with the big crate-sized box that has a statue in it. Forget about it. Ridiculous. Fallout New Vegas, I bet that game had multiple special editions. It has the stupid Pip-Boy. Forget it. Ridiculous. Oh, wait, no, that's
Hold
Fallout
on.
4.
What about
I don't know
Call
what
of Duty
New Vegas
Black
is.
Ops? Call of Duty Black Ops and that giant ass crate that it came with. The care package?
So Black Ops had the RC car. I think that's maybe one of the better remembered special editions.
And it came in a giant crate, right?
I don't remember that. I thought it just came in like a... Oh, it might have. It was like rectangular though, right?
It's the one with the drone. This is the one with the drone.
With the drone. So Black Ops 1 had
It's
the
Black
RC
Ops
car.
2. It's Black Ops 2 had the drone.
Modern Warfare
Yeah,
2 had the shitty night vision goggles.
Yeah. The one with the drone comes in like, it looks like one of the ammo, like one of the crate, not ammo crate. It looks like one of the crates that would drop in that game. And so you have this giant ass crate that you could get with it. Again, don't know who's collecting these. Where would you even keep it?
Like, I mean, someone out there has got to have like a Call of Duty shelf full of all these giant old special editions.
This is not a shelf. This does not go on a shelf. It's too big, Tyler.
No, you get like one of those garage shelves that are just like
huge.
Yeah.
An industrial shelf.
Yeah. And like obviously like this is Call of Duty. Like this stuff's out there. Like all these games are pretty popular. So these are like in the $100 to $200 range. Sometimes like a really nice one goes for $300 for like kind of all these games. Which is like I think that's expensive enough that if you're just a general collector, you should buy literally none of these. But if it's like your favorite game of all time, like I guess go buy the special edition.
There's just literally so many special editions. You'd be here forever. And not all of them are even expensive. Some of them are still like $10.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. Tell me some more good ones.
Good ones? I'm done. You know, the Halo 3 Legendary Edition, I don't hate it. It's like iconic. So the Halo 3 Legendary Edition comes with the helmet, and the helmet comes up and it stores, I think, 3 DVDs inside the helmet, maybe 4 DVDs, which would be the entire Halo trilogy at the time. Which, you know, I don't think it even had room for the Halo 2 map pack in there. So that's kind of funny. And people like put the helmet on their cat. But that's the thing that I would see it. Like, I will recognize that because that's such an iconic collector's edition, that Halo 3 helmet. Whereas, like, I would recognize the Halo Reach statue, but I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, look, it's the Halo Reach statue. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, I think the Halo 3 and like Fallout, the Lunch Pail are two of the most recognizable collector's editions for the system, for sure. What were some other good? There was so many. It's the problem is too much choice. Yeah. Like you have the BioShock special edition. That one's got a story. We've talked a lot about it. The broken figure that came in it versus not broken. Mass Effect had a pretty limited.
Well, hold on.
Mass Effect 1.
Guys, the episode. So the BioShock Collector's Edition came with a figure that was frequently broken, and to replace
Big Daddy figure,
the broken figure, they would send you something else, right?
They would send you an art book.
An art book, yeah. And what's the rare thing? The rare thing, is it rarer to have an intact figure or the art book?
It's rarer to have the art book.
Okay. Neat, I guess.
Yeah, so that's when Batman Arkham Asylum had like this weird bat symbol shaped box. Do you remember this one? I always think of that one because it was such a weird box to get. They also put it in like a clear like rectangular plastic box, but the box the stuff was in was a bat symbol.
Yeah, that's a really inconvenient sized box. I think I was considering buying one because I think all of those sealed have a first print copy of the game in them, and those were like $50, like even in like 2020. I think they're it looks like they're more expensive now, but
yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like Gears of War has like a bunch of like steel books and stuff. They've got like pretty easy collector's editions of those games. Nothing too extreme. It's just like, you know, a little box around the game with like some extra stuff like a gear tag and a cog and stuff.
Wait, yeah, I guess it's not that bad. So I think the first Gears of War, it comes in like this stupid tin. Well, this is like a trend now. Hold on, I forgot this was a trend. Viva Pinata came in a stupid tin. The original Gears of War came in a stupid tin, and Fallout 3 came in a huge tin lunchbox. So there was like this trend of metal cases that weren't steelbooks.
including a lunchbox. Also,
Yeah.
not tin, but not a steelbook.
That's weird.
Yep. So, anyways, again, there is a collector's edition for everything you want. I like there was a Street Fighter one. That was like a big one, the Street Fighter 4, because remember Street Fighter 4 came back? A lot of these collector's editions are fine. Like, they are almost the size of a DVD, and they're just wider. But some of them are absolutely ridiculous. Duke Nukem got one. Remember, it's like a Duke Nukem bust in there for some reason. It's like, this is so ugly and stupid. Yeah.
Stuff you need.
Yep.
If you wouldn't buy it off the shelf at a Hot Topic, which you shouldn't for any of this stuff, maybe don't buy the collector's edition of the game.
Yep.
Let alone buy it off the shelf at a Hot Topic for $200.
Spend that money, y'all.
All right, Johnny, I want to maybe come back to some random stuff that we pick out in like the $100 range. But first, I want to take a little detour, and I want to talk about shooters. The shoot 'em ups, the 2D space shooters that aren't always in space.
Okay.
And very specifically cave shooters, because for whatever reason, I'm sure someone has the reason. Maybe they're easy to port or something. There are a lot of ports of Cave shooters, which Cave is the most well-recognized company that puts out bullet hell arcade games from the 2000s. So, some of these, a couple of them, are exclusive console ports of the arcade game, which, if you're not going to buy an arcade PCB for $800, makes them the best version of the game you could own. So if you're like a fan, but not like out of your mind, these could be worth owning. And also, a lot of these are region free, and I started trying to tell you which ones are region free and which ones weren't, and then I looked into it for like 5 minutes, and I realized sometimes the original print is Japanese region encoded, and then the Platinum Hits release will be region free. And once I saw that, I'm like, fuck it, do the research on your own.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I only care about exclusives. So we're not, if it was ported everywhere, forget about it. So Death Smiles ported everywhere. You mentioned Mushihime-sama Futari version 1.5. This is an exclusive console port of the game, which makes it cool, and it's only $60. Back in my day, if you had a Japanese exclusive shooter, like a very well-regarded Japanese exclusive shooter, that was like a $200 Sega Saturn import. And this is just like, it's
or
just
a
like
Genesis game. Yeah, like if that was on the Genesis, how much money would it be?
Yeah, right? This would be like a $300 Genesis game, easy.
Easy, all day.
Especially if it's the only console port of a beloved arcade game. Like, come on.
Ridiculous.
So,
I mean, you glossed over Death Smiles, but that one came in a big box with a faceplate.
A lot of these have stupid collector's editions. Yes, I'm glossing over anything, like, because like all these are on Switch, and like if it's on Switch, you're not going to go get the Xbox 360 one. You're just going to get the easy one. Let alone like an import Xbox 360 game that maybe is region free. Like, no, you're not going to get that. Let's be real.
Buy the one with faceplate. Go on.
So, the shitty part with Mushihime-sama Futari, the first print of this game came with a DLC card for version 1.01. And so the disc version is 1.5. And there are... It's like a different mode. There were kind of so many gameplay tweaks in between 1.01 and 1.5 that it's even got like different bullet patterns and stuff like that. So that was a DLC code, which means it's just gone forever. So that sucks, and we just don't have that now in physical form on consoles. Additionally, Black Label, just another mode for the game, only available via Xbox Live Arcade as DLC. It is gone. Awesome. Love digital games. So you don't have like all the accoutrements with it, but whatever, it's still the exclusive console port for $60. Big thumbs up to Mushihime-sama Futari. Okay, Johnny, Dodonpachi Daiojo. Maybe my favorite cave game? I'm not an expert here. That game's really cool. This should be the best version of Dodonpachi Daiojo, but there was also a PS2 version, and this was ported from the PS2 version, and they fucked it up somehow. So I believe they hired, like, Cave hired this company to port the game to Xbox 360, and in the process of porting it, they literally stole some of the PS2 code, and it was, like, poorly implemented, so this game had, like, glitches and, like, bugs and stuff, which is fantastic, because this game was patched, like, really long after release it was patched. But that patch is going to be on, like, Xbox Live. You're not even going to be able to get it now. So the disc version you can buy on Xbox 360 is the fucked up forever version of Dodonpachi Daiojo. So while this should be the HD best version of this game, the PS2 port is still better. So I would just say forget about this. It's $50 though if you want. Espgaluda 2.
That's depressing.
It's depressing, but like, if you're a shooter person, if you hang out on like the System 11 forums, any console port is a joke. Like, as cool as it is that there's like a couple exclusive console ports here, like if you're not playing in MAME or you're not playing an arcade PCB, like you're not a real fan. It's like people who say like you're not listening to music unless you listen to records type people. So that's just how some shooter people are.
That's true. But that's why their games are expensive, and that's what makes them collectible, is they have a very dedicated, rigid fan base. Yeah. So, you know.
There's a port of Espgaluda 2 that came to Switch. There's a Ketsui, which has a bunch of other ports. There's Death Smiles 2, which was ported everywhere. There's Dodonpachi Resurrection, which was ported everywhere. And then we get to an expensive and exciting one. Mushi Mushi Pork and Pink Sweets Double Pack. Both of these are exclusive console ports of the game, and they're not fucked up. And this game's like $150 to $200 as a result. Mushi Mushi Pork is a cute 'em up, and Pink Sweets is the sequel to Ibarra, which is it's sort of like Battle Garega. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I'm not into like the off the beaten track shoot 'em ups enough to spend $200 on this. I only have so much time in my life, so I stick to like the super A-list titles. But it's neat. I'm giving thumbs up to two of them. I'm giving thumbs up to Mushi Himasama Futari and this Mushi Mushi Port Pink Sweets collection, Johnny. And this has a stupid limited edition.
I like that one. I like that one. I like cute 'em ups.
I do know you like cute 'em ups. But you could just be pumping your copy of Magical Chase. I know you're trying to pump the stocks. Get the younger generation interested in that.
Yeah. Hey guys, are you thinking about buying Magical Chase? You should spend at least $1,000.
That's it.
Yep.
And then
did I get them?
To round it out, there's also Akai Katana, which had that was like cheap to find in the US version of that. That's also been ported everywhere by now, and the original Mushi Himasami has been ported everywhere. I have 3 more shooters to talk about. You think I'm done talking about import shooters on the Xbox 360?
I thought so.
This was an interesting one I found, Johnny. This, I don't care about this game at all, and I haven't thought about it since it came out. Eschatos on the Xbox 360. This is a game that came out on disc, made by, I forgot the guy's name. It was put out by Cute, but there's like a guy who made it, and it's the guy who made Judgment Silver Sword on the Wonder Swan. And the company Cute also put out Judgment Silver Sword, and they like kept working with this guy to make more shooters. And so this game, I talk about the System 11 forums. That's like, where there's a bunch of arcade shooter people who hang out there. And I specifically say arcade shooter people, because if you play shoot 'em ups, if you like a shoot 'em up guy, like all you do all day is play shoot 'em ups, and you think every other genre is a joke because they don't have enough gameplay packed into them, and shoot 'em ups are just the purest form of gameplay, all you play is arcade shoot 'em ups. Like, there is no Sega Genesis exclusive shoot 'em up. Like, you're not looking at like Arrow Flash and like Lightning Force and all these games. You're just like, oh, those are for consoles. Those are for kids. Those don't run at a perfect FPS and the perfect aspect ratio. They are so arcade focused. And every year they have a poll, and they put out the top 25 shoot 'em ups of whatever year. And last year in the top 25, there were 22 arcade games, 2 computer games, and 1 console game. And it was Eschatos for the Xbox 360. Have you ever heard of anyone call Eschatos on the Xbox 360 one of the best games of all time?
I've never even heard of this game, Tyler, and
Right?
I've heard of a lot of games. I've heard of so many games, Tyler. If you guys just think that we are pretenders or something and we just don't know about games, I played a lot of 360 games, own a lot of 360 games, have played a lot of video games, spent a lot of time looking at video games. What the fuck is this? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I've never played it. But apparently the game is super good because these super hardcore fucking arcade guys are putting it as the only console game they consider among the best shooters of all time.
Which is crazy. That's crazy, by the way.
And the game also includes Judgment Silver Sword and Cardinal Sins, which are the two other shooters by the guy whose name I forgot. The guy who made Judgment Silver Sword. This game costs about $100. You know what? Out of all the shooters we're going to talk about, this has the most interesting story because this isn't like a port. This isn't an arcade port. This wasn't a PC port. This was an Xbox 360 game. How many shooters, like hardcore shooters that people remember and play to this day, originated on the Xbox 360? It's just so cool.
That's a lot of clout, actually.
It is so much clout.
Yeah, I don't want to undersell that. Well, it's like, that's a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal.
Because, I mean, like, guys, these guys are snobs. Did we tell you how they were snobs? They're such snobs. So,
That's good
that
stuff.
is interesting. Are you interested in buying it now?
I kind of want to buy it, yes.
I'm more interested now, especially because I'd never heard of it. And anytime something like I've never heard of, not like, oh yeah, no, I don't know what that is. And then you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that game. Like I looked at this game and I'm like, what is this? How have I never heard of this? So yeah, I'm interested.
Johnny, there's a couple other arcade style games that originated on the Xbox 360 somehow. There's another shooter, Ginga Force, which does not have good reviews. Caladrius, I think that people may have heard of because it got, in the PS4 era, this got brought to the US as Caladrius Break.
And I believe Limited Run put that out.
Oh, did they put that? Is that why people might have heard of this? Okay.
I think so. Is there like a redhead or something on the cover? It's like
yes, exactly. Face. That's the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's
heard of a lot of games.
That's actually a Japanese Xbox 360 game, and its claim to fame is not that it's an incredible game; it's that it has the shame break system, where
oh boy.
I forgot how it works. I have played this game, but either as you take damage or as you do better in the game, your pilot's clothes slowly degrade and fall off.
Of course they do.
That's so like the hook. That's like the gimmick of this game, is that your pilot slowly becomes undressed as the game progresses.
So you'll play this game, but you won't go play
I won't play Waifu Uncovered is what you're complaining about?
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
I think this is maybe a more serious shooter, but yes, that is correct.
Know?
I will play this.
How do you know? You haven't played it?
Johnny, the only other arcade game I wanted to bring up, Phantom Breaker, is an arcade fighting game, or an arcade-style fighting game, I guess, that originated on the Xbox 360, and it has mediocre reviews. I guess it's just interesting for a fighting game that seems like it would originate in the arcade that came out in the Xbox 360, but like, whatever. You don't care about this. It's just like $20. Nope.
Okay.
Forget all that. Just get Eschatos. That's kind of cool.
That's the cool one. That's definitely the cool one.
That was my little break into Japanese shooters on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, cave games are popular wherever you go. They are very collectible, so you could do worse than to buy any cave games. And shmups are always collectible, so I don't know. Do what you will.
Could you do worse to buy cave games? Like, I just don't. I don't see the shoot 'em up collectors anymore. You really gotta like bring it back. If you're gonna start collecting cave games, you gotta like start posting like the big, and like bring it back to the classic days. Like don't do this like I'm gonna doll it up for Instagram. I want to see you lay out all your shooters on like your bed. Like I want to see it on like your bed sheets, and then like you take a picture and you're like, check me out, I got 75 different shooters. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
You're like, if there's not an ashtray in this picture, it doesn't count.
Yes.
If there's not brown wall panels and an Afghan, then I don't want to hear about it. Get out of here. You're ridiculous.
And you got to take it with a 2005 digital camera. None of this is iPhone.
How many pixels do you got? You better be able to tell me.
I want it to be so blurry that you have to recognize the box art to know which games I have.
You're the worst. Look at you gatekeeping over there.
Oh my God. I want you to gatekeep. I want you to show off your shooter collection and gatekeep how cool your shooters are.
Oh, you want me to show off my shooters? Which one should I show off? I don't have Eschatos, so that's out.
I don't know. Bring out something obscure and be like, I'm better
Musha?
than you because I played this and you don't. And this genre has the most gameplay per square pixel. I don't know.
I shouldn't just bring out my most expensive ones. I'm like, here's Musha and Harmful Park, guys. No?
I don't know, Johnny. I just don't know.
Magical Chase, Air Zonk, or Super Air Zonk. Let's go.
You got to pick something you could be snobby about.
I don't have any of those.
I mean, you do because you have sets. There must be something snobby. What's a
Not
snobby
really.
shooter?
I feel like if you actually have snobby ones, they're all imports.
Yeah, that might be true.
So, I'm not a snob. Not a snob. I like cute 'em ups because they're not that hard. I'm not good at bullet hell games. I had my day when I was good at these things, and I played Gradius and Life Force and got through them and beat them. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this even without the continue code. I'm pretty good at this. And now I look at games like this and I'm just like, oh my God, no, stop it. I think I have one obscure one that was like a homebrew on the Saturn or nope. I think it's Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. It's probably Dreamcast.
Yeah,
it was like,
Dreamcast.
You got it like Last Hope or something.
Yeah. Pink Bullets or whatever it's called. Exactly. You nailed it, Tyler. You got it.
I don't think I nailed it. Is it Lost Hope? I always get it mixed.
Something like that. There's like a skull, like a
I know what it is, but all right. That's our shooter talk. Johnny, do we have how long is this episode?
We're already at like 2.5 hours.
All right.
We are fumbling through the Xbox 360 and taking many detailed many detours because we're like, we don't know what we're talking about. Let's talk about something we do know. And then we come back to Xbox. We're like, all right, try again.
So I wanted to scroll through the top of price charting and kind of like anything above $100 is pretty much like a stupid collector's edition that you don't care about. And then once you get into $100, you start getting to like a few real games. You've got Operation Darkness. You got Autobahn Police. You've got El Chavo Kart. And then, Johnny, you have Need for Speed Most Wanted.
But why do you have Need for Speed Most Wanted?
So, notice I didn't say Need for Speed Most Wanted, the EA Store exclusive edition, or Need for Speed Most Wanted, the comes with a model Ferrari edition. No, it's Need for Speed Most Wanted on the Xbox 360.
What? Why, though?
I don't know. So this game has been selling for like $90 to $100 recently. And like, no, you're not getting anything wrong. It is not rare. I don't know what's going on. The closest I found to an and to be clear, the original Need for Speed Most Wanted, not the 2012 one that plays like a Burnout game. The original one.
Okay.
So literally all I can tell is that it is it's like kind of like this very beloved Need for Speed game. So people consider it one of the best Need for Speed games, and it's an Xbox era game. and this was the Xbox 360 version, so it's the really good version of an already beloved Need for Speed game. And it's possible this is a series that got like completely EA'd out with like stupid DLC and shit people didn't like. And this is just like the one people like coming back to. Like it might be like kind of like a Tony Hawk's Underground 2 type deal where it's like, this is the one that people really love and always come back to. But like people are spending $100 on this game. This is a very recent development, by the way. This like just started happening. It went from like 50 to 100.
But I mean, still being at $50 is already a thing. Like, why? Nothing
for Need for Speed, dude. I don't know. How cool. I mean, that's cool that people love this game that much that they would spend it. Because the only thing, you can't put this on a shelf. The only possible thing you could be doing with $100 copy of Need for Speed Most Wanted is putting that in Xbox 360, right?
Yes.
Cool.
That is weird.
Japanese people are buying Japanese copies. I'm assuming because the American copies are too expensive. The last one, the last American one sold yesterday. I mean, maybe today by your time zone, for $100, and it has that shitty yellow GameStop sticker on the inside spine, like on the cover art.
Ew.
That is how desperate people are to play Need for Speed Most Wanted. Crazy.
Yeah. I hate that a lot.
I mean, I think that guy made a poor purchase, but this is a curious trend. I hate that there's two games called Need for Speed Most Wanted on the Xbox 360, and they're completely different games.
That's also weird. What is happening there?
It's not. I think Need for Speed's done that multiple times.
Need for Speed is a series with a lot of games in it. That's what I know.
Hey guys, who cares about Need for Speed? I guess people cared. I think people cared about it more in like the PS2 era. I guess people care about it.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I always thought they were cooler games, but maybe I'm a jerk. And now we got the Forza games. They're so good.
Yeah, I mean, people love that on the 360 as well. I'm going to bring up a special edition I like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? I know we're a little bit past it, but there is something for the 360 called the Ghostbusters, the video game Slimer edition. Do you know about this one? And it is only weird because it's a retail exclusive, but it's not like
I have no idea what this is.
Okay. So it's not like, GameStop. This is the other part of this era. You had multiple retailer exclusives with DLC in them. It'd be like Best Buy, GameStop, Target, Walmart. Like you would find that kind of stuff going on in the 360 era. That is where this is being born. But this is an Amazon one. So this was an Amazon exclusive of the game. Came in like a weird white, plain whitish box. Came with Ghostbusters, the video game. Came with a little diecast Ecto 1, a little Slimer statue, and then some stickers. It's a really weird edition. It's a weird 360 game to go look at. So if you ever find this thing, hit me up. Who you going to call? Johnny, because Johnny wants to buy this. Of course.
This is just a bunch of stupid shit for Ghostbusters boomers. No one cares about Ghostbusters anymore. Get over it. It was one movie.
It's a whole franchise. People still care about it. They just released a movie.
Everyone who cares about it's like 50 years old now. You guys
Tyler,
will be dead
you're talking
soon.
to old people. You're talking to old people.
No, there are some young people out there. There's a 25-year-old listening to this podcast, and they're like, I don't fucking care about Ghostbusters.
Everyone cares about Ghostbusters.
That's not true.
Everyone, why don't you care about Ghostbusters?
I think it's a great movie, but to me, it's just like one great movie, and it's like I don't. I like Jaws. I'm not like, gotta get all the Jaws special editions of all the games because I'm just so
you do.
into
That's
Jaws.
why they're shark collectors. Anyways, it's your bad attitude that's holding shark collectors back, actually. You're making them feel bad. So, just like you're doing to Ghostbusters collectors. Anyways, I like this special edition. I think it's neat. Regardless of how you feel about Ghostbusters, it's just a weird special edition that was released only through Amazon. They didn't sell that many. I don't have the numbers on like how many they actually made, but Yeah, it's like a weird special edition that you just don't see. So like if you go put this in, you'll see the sticker sheets and stuff come up a lot, but you won't actually see like this special edition. So,
All right.
It's called the Slimer edition.
I look forward to you getting that within a year and showing me what it looks like then.
I can't wait to show you my Slimer statue. I hope to one day be like, look at this thing I got. It's probably not going to happen though.
Johnny, I got one to bring up.
Sure.
Asterix at the Olympic Games.
Oh, all right. You mean like the normally PAL game Asterix?
Exactly. So this game's like $100, and it's like, I don't know, it's uncommon. Like for an Xbox 360 game, it's rare. There's like a few on eBay. But like you cannot tell me that Asterix at the Olympic Games was released in America. Like these have to all be from Canada, right?
Yeah, most likely.
So yeah, there are a bunch of Canadian sellers, and then there's a bunch of PAL copies. And there are a bunch of US sellers, but like, did these people just buy them from Canada? Because who the fuck in America knows who Asterix is?
That's really weird. If you don't know, it's got like the Viking helmet on, and yeah, it's like a cartoon over there.
It's a French cartoon strip, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've always thought this game was strange. There have been times where there's been like 0 to 1 copy of this game on eBay, and I'm like, oh my god, gotta get the cool Asterix game. People don't know this is like some weird regional exclusive, and there's like some copies available. I do think it's one of the more interesting Xbox 360 games, though.
That it is weird that it exists. Yeah. Huh.
Can I give you another one?
I would love you to give me another one. Give me as many as you got.
Spider-Man Web of Shadows is selling for like $70.
With the art book or without the art book?
Just regular ass copies of Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
Okay.
$70 for a Spider-Man game? Isn't that crazy?
A couple of the Spider-Man games are expensive across. That's the games are expensive across multiple systems too. It's not just on the 360. It's expensive.
Yeah, I know, but why?
People love some Spider-Man right now. Spider-Man is doing well.
This game sells like every day. That's man, like people are playing Xbox 360 games. They're going back to Web of Shadows. Like I don't know anything about Web of Shadows. I don't know if that's one of the better ones or what, but
I don't know. I never played it, but like remember Spider-Man was such a big deal when it came out. Like the movie game, like they're like, look at you, you're actually Spider-Man swinging between these buildings. People thought that game was just the best.
I mean, isn't that every Spider-Man game? Or are you talking about the PS4 one?
No, when it was like on PS2 and 360, like specifically, it came out and people were losing their mind over it. I think Shattered Dimension is also expensive.
Yeah, the game's like also $60-$70.
Yeah.
And that's also obviously a not rare Spider-Man game. Is Spider-Man just like having a moment?
I mean, I think it's
like
this Marvel's number one hero.
And then also Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I can't believe like that Marvel has that much impact on Xbox 360 games.
Well, Ultimate Alliance was also good. Like that was a fun game.
I mean, I'm sure these Spider-Man games are generally good. Like these are probably good, right?
I mean, I think to be $70, you have to be kind of good on the 360. Because like you can get like Amazing Spider-Man or like Force of Time, but even Force of Time's a little bit expensive, I think. Yeah, like Spider-Man games are kind of expensive. We've talked about this. Unless it's like directly from the movie, I think they're expensive.
See, I'm an older collector, Johnny, who anything licensed I just immediately assume is trash. And I realize like the Spider-Man games are definitely among the better licensed games, even for the older ones. But I just never imagine anything licensed as having any real collectible value. And these are going for over MSRP, which that's kind of my definition of collectible. If you have an old game going for over MSRP, that means it's collectible. It's not just stuff.
Now, all these Spider-Man games, look, if you find a Spider-Man game that isn't based directly off the movie, that game's some money. Just so you know, if you find it in a $10 bin, pick it up.
There's a bundle we missed, Johnny.
Oh,
It's similar to the hospital, the children's hospital bundle. It's the ESA Foundation holiday bundle. 3 great games, 1 great price. I'm gonna go with that's the official name of this. But this is a box set that includes Cars, Open Season, and Fusion Frenzy 2, which at least is a much more appealing group of games for kids than like the rejects of 2007 that the other bundle was.
okay.
I mean, this is cool. There's one on eBay right now for $250, and there's none in solds. So
Okay.
I don't know. I love these things that seem like they're like from some special thing, like some special like charity thing, because it's like, who has this? Why do you still have this? I just they always feel rare, and I think this one is rare. Price charting tracked the last price in 2023, and it has it at $70, which is probably low compared to what it would be now.
Yeah, probably. Interesting game to have. I like it. Go on. What else you got? You got any other big titles for me?
Would you believe that Spider-Man Edge of Time is like $60?
I sure would.
This is one that Racket Boy brought up, and it's just wrong. Import Tuner Challenge. It's like a $60 game, and sometimes, a lot of times you get like these weird racing games with like bad generic cover art, and they'll have a name like Import Tuner Challenge, and it'll be like, oh yeah, what's like the Penny Racers? What's the one on Xbox? I don't remember. Whatever. 1, 2, 3, 8 copies have sold in February, and February is not over yet. This game is not rare. So Import Tuner Challenge is a scam. Racket Boy, please remove it from your article. It's not rare. And it's not even that expensive.
Racket Boy, how dare you?
Yeah. All right, I'm getting down into like the $50 games, which, well, I mean, by Xbox 360 terms, like $50, still pretty collectible. I'm in games like Darkest of Days, Splatterhouse.
You've got a weird Incredible Hulk GameStop edition that's like kind of expensive. I don't know why that one's expensive. Again, Operation Darkness. That's a game. You didn't bring that one up. Is Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage 2 on your list?
On my list.
Yeah, like
oh no
games.
No, I didn't bring up every expensive game, but I guess that's one of the most expensive games.
Yeah, and I bring it up because it's a Koei game, and we bring that up for our friend Tiger Wolf. So,
but like,
yeah, go.
I mean, that's so like solidly $100 game, and in January, like 8 copies sold. So like even the rare Xbox 360 games are just not rare. I'm sorry. I feel like I harp on Xbox being not rare. Like I'm trying to like diss it constantly. Like the ESA Holiday Bundle, I think is rare. Like there is some cool rare stuff. It's just never the standalone games.
So, it's some games I don't understand how they're expensive. Like 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand. Do you know this one?
Yo, 50, hit that big ass ramp.
So that game's going for like $80. And it's a THQ game. So I think it's not like a weird edition. It's just like, oh, how did that happen?
That is kind of weird. I think, oh man, that is really expensive.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we say expensive, like, again, it's relative to the system. There's not that many expensive games, even with Xbox 360 having a moment and games getting more expensive. And yes, all these prices are subject to change as things flux up. Like, we're not talking like a bunch of $300 and $500 games. It's all like, oh, that one's $75. It's expensive for Xbox 360. Saw 2, Saw 1. These are games that are like $50 to $75. Like, how did they get expensive?
All right, someone has to talk to me now. What is 50 Cent Blood on the Sand like a cult classic? Because 50 Cent Blood on the Sand is like kind of a funny game.
Yeah.
I played that at the same time. I think I played Kane and Lynch 1, and I remember just that was such an era of like mediocre third person shooters that just had a lot of stupid personality, and I just liked a lot of those games. It's so weird. Like, you wouldn't think enough people remember 50 Cent Blood on the Sand to push it up that much, because like no one, it's not a game anyone ever talks about. You never see a YouTube video on 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, and like all the reviews I'm sure are like, oh, 7 out of 10, it's great if you're a fan of 50 Cent. It's kind of cool to see it up at the top, just like as a pretty much a cult classic of the Xbox 360, right?
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's right. Cool enough. Cool enough.
I think, you know what? I think some of these $100 games are way better. Like maybe like $60 to $100 games. Like just the stuff like kind of towards the top, like the playable good stuff. Like it's way better than all the collector's edition stuff.
Yeah, some games you see and you're just like, okay, like Blitz 2 The League. Why is that a $75 game? Do people just love this game? Features Lawrence Taylor.
I mean,
I imagine that people like this game. It's again, this is a Midway game, so it's not like, oh, this is some obscure publisher and a weird genre specific collectors are all over it. Like, so I imagine that people will just have to love playing this.
I mean, it's the last Blitz game, so I imagine it has a lot to do with it.
Okay, but still, that's like
it's because people love it to play. Exactly.
Yeah. So. There's Tomb Raider Underworld has a DLC pack. So as far as collectible DLC goes, there's this Tomb Raider Underworld DLC, which is, I think, a code in a box as well. And,
I'm drawing the line at fucking Fallout. I understand Fallout 3 is a huge game with a lot of fans. Don't miss me with the Tomb Raider Underworld code in a box DLC, okay?
Well, it might be a disc. I don't
care. Miss me with the Tomb Raider Underworld DLC. Like, get real. Come on.
What if I told you that it's like $75?
I don't care. The value is not the reason it's a problem.
Okay. Why is Fallout okay? There's what? Tomb Raider collectors aren't a thing?
Just because Fallout 3 is such a huge Xbox 360 game. I'm allowing it, and I don't agree with it, but I understand it a lot more. If I don't know what a similar game would be. If Gears of War had a physical DLC, I guess I'd be okay with that too.
Okay.
I mean, Oblivion does. I think Oblivion had Knights of the Nine really. Well, it wasn't a code in a box. It was a disc of Knights of the Nine, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a code in the box. Anyways. I just know that DLC has been mentioned as being expensive. Anyways, I just think when these things happen, it's not a DLC, it's an expansion pack. Sorry. Are we drawing a line? Is that different?
Johnny, I'm giving you like 3 more games before we call it by just like looking at random games. But yes, I'd say it's different.
All right. Well, I mean, once you dip into like, oh, we're talking about $50 games, $75 games, there's a lot in this range because the system has a lot of games. So of course a ton are the curve is just gonna fill out as you go down because not everything is gonna be a $10 game. Saw 2, I said, like, that's an interesting one. You know why I like that. An interesting one is Transformers War for Cybertron, because again, it's like a big title that how did this happen? How did War of Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, like, these games are still over $60. Are they good games? These are Activision games, so people must just love playing them. Were not that many released, so I think it's interesting when these kinds of things hit. And then just a classic, Tyler, Silent Hill Downpour, because it's a Silent Hill game. And, you know, horror games tend to be a little bit pricey, and the 360, you would think that's like a genre that has a bunch of expensive games. But on the 360, it's not like you scroll up. It's not like on the PS2, which is, this directly follows the PS2, right? You're not like, oh my God, there's 500 survival horror games on here and they're all $200. That's not what this system is.
I mean, a lot of the horror games were really popular on Xbox 360. That's probably why they're not super expensive. I mean, just think of like Dead Island and whatever the one in the mall was. and
oh God, that's a big
Alan
franchise
Wake.
too. With Frank,
Dead Rising.
You take Dead Rising. I'm like,
Yeah.
you take pictures. Yeah, that's it. There's again, the list of like $50 games is gigantic. It's gigantic. So go look at that.
Johnny, that's the Xbox 360.
Yeah, we really muddled through that, huh? Did a great job. Good job, Tyler.
I'm going to go buy it now, a copy of Need for Speed Most Wanted. Clearly, the market knows something that I don't, and I don't want to miss out.
No, you got to go buy the shmup. That's the one.
Oh,
what's our pick of the show?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, System 11 is calling it the best console shooter of all time, according to their votes.
Not Autobahn Please.
I mean, I've got it.
Oh, okay.
I might buy. Yeah, I guess I should buy Eschatos, right? I'll watch a review first.
You watch a review and you tell me, is this a thing we should be buying? Is it our pick of the show? Find out next time.
No, I mean, it's got to be our pick of the show. I mean, it's Xbox 360. Like, how much am I really going to be recommending on Xbox 360? Like, I think the coolest stuff is, honestly, the coolest stuff is probably like a bunch of $5 games. Like, Go get Oblivion, go get Skyrim, go get Halo 3.
This is definitely a system where we could do, you have $200. How many cool games did you buy?
Right. Yeah.
So, and that's like, again, it feels like we were kind of really up on the system and then really down on the system, but the Xbox 360 was a great gaming system. So many hours on the Xbox 360, so many games were played, not even getting into just all the stuff that was live only. What a great console.
Pretty great console. I mean, I hate all consoles and I play everything on PC, and I'm still saying Xbox 360 is pretty fucking great console.
It really is. Collectible? Middling collectability.
I'm just going to say
great
no,
console.
Johnny, I'm sorry.
I said middling. Look, it's having a moment right now. People are all over that. The videos on YouTube tell me this is collectible now.
So when I think collectible, so yes, there are collectible games in the Xbox 360. But when if you're going to ask me, is this console yes or no, absolute binary choice collectible? I'm thinking if you have a shelf of like the 30 coolest games on the console, are those collectible games? And for the Xbox 360, it's like categorically no, because we're going back to, what do you have? Halo, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Gears of War. Like, those are not collectible games. Those are good games. That is a good collection. I think that is worth owning, but I don't know that it's like collectible. But also, my definition of collectible usually goes to, is it more than MSRP? And just most Xbox 360 games are definitely not. But if you've got a Spider-Man game, more collectible than there's 3 Spider-Man games more collectible than the poorly received Silent Hill game. That's something.
Yeah, it's true. Man, Silent Hill. Silent Hill. That game didn't sell people on Silent Hill for sure.
Johnny, let's move on to another part of the show because this episode's going long.
Well, this is so long, and we've said so little. Tyler, that could honestly be the description of this whole podcast. Tyler, do you have a collector's question? Nay, I take that back. Tyler, do you have something from the forum which you wish to call out the best collectible of the show?
Let's go quickly give someone props. Also, Kanakis says Need for Speed Most Wanted is a combination of achievement hunters, and there's no digital version of Most Wanted. And that's probably the case with all the expensive 360 games.
Man, it's so weird to think that achievement hunters are still around.
Galdius posted his new shelf organizing his game room, but his Xbox 3 or his N64 games have the green side out. So Galdius, you do not win this week. Sorry.
Galdius is winning like almost every time. He's winning. He's winning and collecting. Galdius, you're really doing it, and I'm jealous of things you have. I have my pick. Do you have yours?
No.
I have two picks, okay?
What do you got?
I'll start. So, It's Tyler. Tyler, you
No,
won collecting
see, I don't
this
want to
week.
pick myself because I did get
Tyler, yeah, you got Wizardry. Pretty cool. But it's like a first print. This is an interesting thing to talk about. Go ahead, talk about it, Tyler.
No, fuck it. I'll talk about it in mine. All right, so I'm going to give it to Daddy Mulk because I know he likes Phantasy Star. So Mega Drive Phantasy Star, the manual comes with, it's 6-hole punched, so you could like put it in a binder, because I guess that's something you do with
It is cool, yeah.
Mega Drive manuals that come with it's their own case to put it in, so why would you ever put it in its own binder? But whatever. He found a variant of that manual that came unpunched. Whatever. I think that's cool. I'm going with that.
You know, I'm going with Genesis games as well. I'm going with Living in Bits because he showed off a nice little collection of Genesis games, including Truxton, Grindstormer, and Landstalker. Those are like some pretty sweet Genesis games to get. Now, the question is, does that Grindstormer work?
The Grindstormer does not work. You know what? I fixed my my copy of Grindstormer. You can replace it. There's like a Mickey PCB I think you could use to replace it, and I regret it now because I'm never gonna play it, and now my cartridge isn't original.
Aw,
whatever.
Wah, wah.
I don't think a Grindstormer loose cartridge that's broken is ever gonna be that expensive. I just don't care that much.
Yeah. Also, just to go back to Galdius, he put his N64 games Green Side Out, which is undoubtedly incorrect. The wrongest answer that ever wronged.
Johnny, we got a question for the podcast.
Do we? That's the next part of the show. Let's do it.
Tiger Wolf asks, it seems like there's an overlap between collectors and horror. Do you see this too? Or am I seeing things with all the horror VHS out there? If this is a thing, why do you think there's an overlap?
I don't know if it's specific to horror. I think, again, I think there's a lot of nostalgia from the 80s, and the 80s and horror were like, horror in the 80s was just gigantic. And with the advent of VHS and so much horror coming out, I think all of these things start to overlap completely. And video games also coming at the time, the rise of having home media. Home media wasn't really a thing before the 80s. So I think the collection of those things, and why I call it the most nostalgic era, is that these things all coalesced at the same time, same place. And, you know, therefore all these old things get remembered. And the golden age of horror came out of the 80s, and it got to be with VHS and DVD and video games, all this stuff at the same time. So I think this is a right time, right place kind of thing.
All right. And I think you overrate the 80s as being nostalgic because you're personally nostalgic for it.
No, I don't think so. I disagree. And I think there's enough data to prove that I'm not just saying that. Because also I was a teenager in the 90s, and I don't rate the 90s the same way.
You should have played Toe Jam and Earl. Man, what a trip.
It's
the latest episode of the Lost Joystick Network podcast.
Cool. I don't think the 80s are the best era or anything. I just think that people are the most nostalgic for it. I don't know how to track that. I think people are nostalgic for the 80s now the way people were nostalgic for the 50s. Because when I was a kid growing up, that's what people were not nostalgic for the 60s and the 70s. People talked about this golden age of time that was the 50s. Because a lot of things happened that just like, again, few things happened all at the same time. You get out of World War II, things start to improve, televisions start to happen, phones are in houses, all these things, these magical technologies are happening. Life is getting easier when it was just hard. And so people remember this golden era, right? And I think the same thing kind of happens in the 80s and the revolution of home media.
I think the average person who engages online in a place like Reddit is probably 27 years old, and they're nostalgic for the 2000s because they talk about things like iCarly.
I don't give a shit what the average Reddit user thinks.
But those are the people who you think are the most nostalgic.
That's not all of the people, Tyler. There's a whole wide swath, and I think, and look, the people on Reddit right now are nostalgic for shit that came out in the 80s because it propagated through time, not just in the 80s. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like, this property was here and then like never really got remade. It's like, oh, we built in franchises and now we really have to defend IP. And it just keeps being pushed along and it keeps being recycled. So everything keeps being recycled more and more. And I think a lot of that was born in the 80s more than other places.
You don't understand the originality of Phineas and Ferb and
I do
the
understand
game with the little blue ghost, or the
Phineas
TV show with the
Ferb.
blue ghost.
What was that? Imaginary Friends.
Foster's House of Imaginary Friends, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, and Phineas and Ferb is great, but I don't think it travels quite the same way. I think maybe in time it will, because it's a property, and now that same thing that happened in the 80s now just continues. It's now part of the cycle, but I think the cycle was mainly born in the 80s.
All right. Well,
I think you're underrating the advent of home media, and like
I'm not I mean, the 80s are great. It's the 80s. What am I going to say?
I mean, let's say it's not the most nostalgic era, even though you fucking collect NES games and you weren't even around.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Love
point.
the 80s. The 80s
you are
so
my
good.
goddamn point.
Something you failed to bring up as a good argument for this point. There's like so little shared culture compared to what there used to be. Like, I used to, like, if a movie came out, I don't know. Like, if I could go into school and we would talk about the TV show that aired last night. Now, like, there's just endless feeds of fucking content and endless YouTube videos, and you binge entire TV series in one day. And it's just like, how do you connect with anyone about anything in the same way you did when everyone watched this week's episode of like fucking 24 or Lost or something like that?
Yeah.
It's just like in this era, there's no more of that at all.
No, again, that stuff went away. It's not like we're all like, oh man, did you see that YouTube video? I think the closest thing we get to that is memes that transcend like politics and particular taste, that just kind of rise to the top of a YouTube video and just get shared around. But that's where we are now.
Isn't it kind of crazy? I almost never talk with anyone about a YouTube video, and there are like good YouTube videos, and it's just like I'll talk with someone about a movie for 30 minutes, and I'll never talk with anyone about a YouTube video. It just feels like disposable, something that I can't ever share with anyone. Because also, who has ever seen the same YouTube video as me?
No, because 1,000 views on a YouTube video might be a really great video that you're like, oh man, I can't believe 1,000 people saw that. That's awesome. Which is not the same as television. If only 1,000 people saw it, there would be nothing. You are right in the idea of shared culture. It just doesn't happen anymore. We've changed. And think about yourself. How much time did you spend watching any kind of television this year? Do you think it's more or less time than you spent on YouTube? I know it's a lot less.
I mean, come on.
So much less. And that, like, including me, who is like older, I'm like, oh yeah, I watch so much more YouTube than I did television shows. Like, I go downstairs and I put on a YouTube video every day. There's like certain people I'm like, oh, they put out content like 3 times a week. I'm definitely watching their content over anything else I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, while I'm cooking dinner or whatever, because like you don't have to pay attention to a YouTube video, so it could just always be on in the background.
Yeah, it's like just endless drafts and stuff. Like, oh, what'd someone do in this one? Yeah, it's like just nonsense, just background nonsense.
Johnny, to answer the question, I think collectors have they like extremes, and horror is perhaps one of the extremes that something can be. You know, I think in the same way that like absolutely indecipherable art house is an extreme of film, and collectors would gravitate towards that over like mass market rom-coms. I just think we like extremes. That's why when you get down into it, when you look at the people who have everything and they just keep going, they're like, oh, I need bingo on the RCA Studio 2. It's the rarest, most obscure thing. Not to call out anyone in particular here, but I think it has to do with collectors and extremes. That's my guess anyway.
Yeah, and horror does a lot of that, and it's also horror allows for levels too, because there's like your mainstream horror, and then you've got like your weird, like you've got like 2 or 3 levels deep. And I think that makes for interesting collecting, right? When you can be like, here's the surface level stuff that everyone knows. And then you're like, And there's so much more soup down there. Just keep going. Look at all this weird shit you didn't even know about. And that's horror.
And I would also guess, especially with the movies, it's really easy to make a low budget, obscure horror movie. It's like a very trashy genre that, like, you know, some guys with like some zero special effects and a Sony Handycam could make a horror VHS tape.
Yep.
And, you know, it's a lot harder to make a dramatic period piece. So there's just like a lot more weird, rare stuff out there, right?
And it needs to look clean, right? Because there's already a precedent for that, right? In horror, you're allowed to be dirty and gross. Like the quality of the filming doesn't need to reach these standards. People give horror a lot of forgiveness and permission to be not at the scale of, you know, $100 million movies.
Johnny Peaceful asks, you magically have 1 month in which all your responsibilities and commitments are removed from your life. This is like, all right, this is like a scenario here. All your responsibilities and commitments are removed, and you have your newfound free time to play 2 video games, one of which you've beaten before, and one of which you've never played before. Any console, whatever. What 2 games do you pick? You can play as much or as little as you want. There's not some weird monkey paw scenario where you're strapped to a couch and forced to play, but you can't say you're using the time to catch up on chores or whatever. Very specific. He wants to make sure we have no outs.
So we're enjoying it. The Matrix has put us into this scenario.
Yes.
We've got A and B. A month? How many games are lasting a month that you want to play? Good gravy. What am I doing with all this extra time?
Really? I was thinking, because if I pick like RuneScape, a month's not even enough.
Oh, yeah, but would you want to do that? This is what you want to do.
I mean, like, RuneScape's a game you could play for 16 hours and just be like, what if I just quit my job and just played RuneScape? It's like just one of those MMOs, you know?
Is this like individual games only? Like, it sounds like picking a multi-pack.
No, you're not picking a fucking multi-pack. Get the fuck out of here.
No, that's why I said it sounds like it's out of the spirit of the question, so
Yeah.
I don't think we should count those. Here, Final Fantasy 3 or 6, whatever you want to, however you want to classify that, and Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, that's a good one, because I do have to beat Tears of the Kingdom, right?
I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom. I love Breath of the Wild. I'm like, man, this is like, I need to read. I want to understand the lore. I don't want to miss stuff. I want to think while I play it. You know, I want to do all the little things. And I feel like if I play it and I don't have time, I will just be rushing around and like just beating it to say I beat it. And I don't want that to be my experience.
I'm gonna kind of cheat. I'm sorry. I'm destroying the spirit of your question here. But a game I just started is Wizardry 7, and I'm gonna call that the game I haven't played because it's 148 hours long, and there would be nothing better than to have a month in which I don't have other responsibilities to like. I don't like playing games to get it out of my backlog. I think if you're thinking about getting a game out of your backlog, it makes it not fun. So I like taking my time and just like not caring anymore. But if I was trying to play it to get out of my backlog, Wizardry 7 is an extremely long game. Apparently. I don't know. I haven't beat it, but Jesus. And then for a game I have played, I'm going to go Dwarf Fortress, because that is a game you could play forever and just figure out weird new things to do. Just seems like a good game for that. And 1 month isn't long enough for RuneScape. So you see, if you put me in a time bubble where I have infinite time until I'm done with the game, then I'm picking RuneScape. And we're just going to have like, we're going to take like 10 years out of my life, and it's just going to be the 10 years of RuneScape. And then I'm going to zap back to the present, and I'll have that out of my system, and we'll go back to reality.
Man, you don't age, right? Like
if I don't age, scenarios, yeah. Like you could sit down and play World of Warcraft, and you could do all 60,000 quests, and then just zap back, and you're the same age.
Yeah, I didn't pick City of Heroes specifically because I was like, oh, does everyone else have this month too? Because you can't just jump on an MMO by yourself. That sucks.
Uh, clearly you haven't played RuneScape, an MMO where the goal is to interact with other players as little as possible.
Look, you might as well call that game Autism Online. Like, just for everything it's doing. And that's not a dig at it, but like that's like the kind of level that we're getting at.
I mean,
like
it
the
is.
Obsessive.
And of course,
detail.
Johnny, I play the Iron Man mode, which means I'm not allowed to trade with other players or like party up with them or anything. Of course, I want to do everything myself.
That's like the mode that like I think most people who really enjoy that game want to play. I'm like, oh my god, thank you for making a mode where I don't have to interact. I appreciate that. Please save me from this type of. You know what would make this game great if I could do all this without the social stuff. Thank you.
Exactly. Here's your $12 a month for the social stuff.
Yeah. So again, not a dig at that, but yeah, it's it inspires that kind of behavior.
All right, Peaceful. Thank you for your weird scenario. Johnny, what are you buying? What are you playing? This episode is still going.
Yeah. I mean,
Johnny, we didn't prepare for, we did prepare for this episode, but like nothing compared to like what we prepare for a real collector episode. It's going longer. What is happening?
I think we just took too many tangents and you know what the problem is, Tyler? Here's what it is. You and I are used to talking for about 5 hours when we sit down to do this. And you're just like, well, we're not done talking because it's not 5 hours.
I don't know how people do like half-hour podcasts. Like, what? Do they not like talking with their host? They get all the talking out of their system and then just like go all business for 30 minutes. Like, what about the natural conversation they're having?
I think it's just a different style. You and I are just doing our own thing. Again, we're not trying to please anyone over here, Tyler. We just do our own thing.
All right.
You want to try half-hour episodes? Do you want to do?
All right. April 1st, we're doing a half-hour episode. We're going to have to like speed run it though.
Half-hour episode on clowns. Let's go.
No, not a stupid episode.
Half-hour episode on clowns. Let's go.
Oh my God.
No. Tyler, what are you buying? What are you playing?
Well, Johnny, I'm playing a Wizardry 7, which I don't know. It seems like a cool dungeon crawler. I think it's kind of like one of these games that's known as like, oh, it's maybe the best dungeon crawler of all time. And it's a game like no one will ever play again. I don't know why, but this is just an era of games. It's like a DOS first-person dungeon crawler. And why don't people care about these games anymore? I don't know, but they also don't really make games like this anymore. So it seems like something to do.
Okay.
What am I buying, Johnny? Oh, wait, I got all sorts of cool stuff. Johnny, I got a really nice first print of Wizardry 1. Unrelated to me playing Wizardry 7, just it's a really important game. So I brought this up before because I've bought early prints of Wizardry. There's a misprint and the copyright notice on both the box and the disc. And so the copyright notice says copyright Surtech Software when it's supposed to say copyright Robert Woodhead. So it's supposed to say the developer's name and they put the company name instead. And the earlier prints I have that have the misprint box don't have the misprint disc. This is the first copy I have that also has the misprint disc.
Ooh.
Very fancy. I love it.
Nice. Good pickup, Tyler.
Did I get something else?
I don't know.
Didn't you say I posted something else? Oh, what did I posted my Cosmology Kyoto variant that I got in the mail. Yeah. Didn't I get something else, Johnny? Tyler, remember to cut this. What did I get that's cool? Oh, I got I got Nightlife for the PC-88. The Koei, a very early Koei game. It's maybe a pornographic game. Maybe like almost an educational pornographic game. It's like got a visual Kama Sutra thing going on. I don't know. It's weird. It's niche. It's adult. I like it.
It's very cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Now, if you just showed me some like new porn game, I'd be like, gross, who cares? But you're like, look at this porn game from the 1980s. I'm like, that's awesome and interesting.
Yeah.
Because porn is just porn, but like you had to commit so hard to like a porn game in the 80s, like just wild.
It's like wireframe cartoon graphics. Like it's really crude.
Yeah. Yep. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's why like all the Atari games are amazing too, because it's just like so crude and stupid that like it's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Let's see, Tyler. What am I buying? What am I playing? I'm playing some Diablo. I know, shocked. I played a little bit of Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's all I'm playing. I'm not playing anything interesting.
You haven't beaten Indiana Jones yet?
No, because I keep, again, when I play it, I want to play it for like 2 hours and do a lot. I don't want to play if I don't have enough time to like really sit down and enjoy it, it's hard for me to find those bubbles of time. And then I get caught up in doing all this other research and wanting to do stuff. I'm in a weird place where I feel like if I'm playing a game and I'm just by myself, that I am not doing all the other things that I want to be doing, like research, getting this project done, getting this list done and stuff. And, some learning I'm trying to do. And I feel like I'm wasting my time. And that's not fair.
You're wasting your time. Oh yeah, I'm playing video games. I'm wasting my time.
I know, but it's like in the grand scheme of like, well, I'm trying to learn. I've got like 50 hours of learning I need to go do on some AI technology and some data analysis stuff. So I'm like, I should be like looking into that more deeply. And if I go sit down and play Indiana Jones, I'll be like, so I get caught in these moments when it's also fine to just like sit down and relax. So it's, then when I have time to relax, I'm also tired. And that's the other thing. I'm like, I'm too tired right now. I don't want to play this game if I'm falling asleep or just going to fall asleep like 20 minutes in, because then I'm not going to feel like I got a rewarding experience out of it. So I'm kind of searching for this Goldilocks zone in which to play games, which is terrible. Diablo, I can just jump on with my buddy and then not think and be falling asleep because who gives a shit? Nothing interesting is really happening in Diablo. I'm not playing that game to play Diablo. I'm playing it to hang out with a friend.
All right. Also, this game's 25 hours long, apparently. I assume that, like, modern action games are, like, 8 hours long, because when I think about it, I think of, like, the Uncharted games, which are all pretty short.
Yeah, I mean, most of them. But, yeah, this one's a little longer, and it's got some sneaking, and it's got, like, a bunch of extra little stuff you can do. It's an interesting game. I like it a lot, but it's, probably not for everybody.
Is the guy on the cover isn't Harrison Ford, right?
No.
They got like, it's so close to him. It's like they modified his face the minimum amount to be legally distinct.
Yeah. What's the guy? Who's the guy doing the voice? What's his name? Nathan Drake's voice.
Nolan North.
Is it Nolan North who's doing it? I want to say that's.
I mean,
right.
He's a great voice actor.
But it's like it's not Harrison Ford, but it's like the guy doing it sometimes is magically good. And then like other times you're like, but like over on rate, like really good interpretation of Harrison Ford in that time frame.
All right.
Tyler, I bought a bunch of dumb games.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I know. Like Final Fantasy 16 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Five Nights at Freddy's and another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Basically, I went to Target and they had a clearance selling these games for like between $5 and $11. So I just picked up like a handful of games that I thought were interesting. So did that, and then
the exact other thing that we tell people not to do.
Not to do, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Five Nights at Freddy's I got for the horror. The other ones are like series that I already have games from. Some and like two of them I got for my son. So it's not like. Well, the only game that I'm like really like pretty questionable on like why did I get this was Story of the Seasons, or Story of Seasons. Because I'm like I don't really care about this series, and I bought it anyways. A Wonderful Life. Anyways, Tyler, I bought another big game, and this is the one I'm most excited about. It's Kickman, Tyler. Have you heard of Kickman?
I believe it's a fucking clown game.
It sure is, Tyler. It is the clown game, yeah. That's it. It's the clown game. That's what I've been waiting the whole episode just to say. Yeah, I bought Kickman.
No one knows what that is. It's a Commodore 64 game. No one knows what Kickman is.
No one should know. There's a weird clown on a unicycle on the cover, and his shadow minions behind him, also on unicycles. It's very frightening.
I hate
It's a horror game, and it doesn't even know it.
Oh my god.
What, Tyler? What don't you like about it?
This game collects clown games. No one knows what this is.
What do you mean no one collects? This was an arcade game, man. What are you talking about?
You remember going to the arcades in 1981 and playing Kickman, the clown game?
I do, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
When this was next to Donkey Kong and Defender, you were like, I'm going to go play Kickman, the kind of breakout with clowns thing they got going on here.
I mean, you also collect Pac-Man characters on the clown's hat, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's an action game, buddy.
Is this a Pac-Man game, like, technically?
It sure is. It's got official Pac-Man in it.
This is officially a Pac-Man game. Like, all right, I'm kind of in, because this is so obscure. If you're talking about, like, Pac-Man games, this is crazy.
It is crazy that this is, like, part of the Pac-Man lore. This game exists in Pac-Man history somewhere.
All right. I'm not in, but we got to end this episode because I'm dying here. Okay. I've had a normal sleep schedule, and I'm staying up now for this.
Okay. Well, that's it.
That's it.
Tyler.
3.5 hours.
That's it. That's the show. 3.5 hours of, yeah, we did it. Hey, that's it for the show, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. Everyone, thanks for your questions. We appreciate everyone's support. If you want to support us, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/collectorsquest for $4. You get access to our Patreon and asking us questions and our bonus content. Anyways, that's all we have. Hope you enjoyed us muddled through an Xbox 360 where we are not great collectors of. We liked it. We hope you did too. Bye!